But if evolution is real, and if there is this constant, I don't know, but it's visible. Like, you can measure it in certain animals.
You can measure adaptation.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence that in fact, I think we've kind of given up on the idea of evolution. The theory of evolution as articulated by Darwin is like kind of not true. Right?
In what sense?
Well, in the most basic sense, the idea that, all life emerged from a single cell organism and over time, and there would be a fossil record of that, and there's not. And
there's not a fossil record of transitionary species, like species that are adapting to its environment.
There's tons of record of adaptation, and you see it in your own life. I mean, I have a lot of dogs. I see adaptation in dogs, through the litter to litter. But no, there's no evidence at all zero, that, people, evolve seamlessly from a single cell amoeba. No, there's not. There's no chain in the fossil record of that at all. And that's why you don't actually hear you hear them make reference to evolution, because the theory of adaptation is clearly, obviously true. But Darwin's theory's totally that's why it's still a theory almost 200 years later. No, we have not found that at all. And I can't even guess. I mean, I have my own theories on it, but they're not proven.
What are your theories?
God created people, distinctly, and animals. I mean, I think what every person on Earth thought until the mid-19th century, actually.
Right, but
it's not a new idea.
They didn't have computers. They didn't have a general understanding that we have today of the process.
Do you think we understand more now?
Yes.
Really?
You don't think that we understand more today?
We understand way less. We understand so little that we're actually sitting here allowing, a bunch of greedy, stupid, childless software engineers in Northern California to flirt with the extinction of mankind.
Good morning, my beauties and bees. It is I, your host, Miss Bumblebee. It is Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m., and we are live from the Hive. Good to see you, everybody. Thank you so much for dropping in. I did go advertise us with a little bit of drama queen attached in on there, at least on Twitter, if that's where you get your link to come hang out with me. Maybe there's been some drama in there because I said last live from the Hive ever, because it could be. It very well could be, because the Hive is in trouble, my friends. Everybody who's here, I want you guys to understand this. The Hive is in trouble. It's at serious risk, and I don't know the future of the Hive, of Hive Sci. I don't. Here's the thing. I like, this is a science channel where we learn about animals and their ethology, and we use that to learn to cover cryptozoology, to debunk bad science. It's what we do here, right? So if I cannot sample short videos of animal behavior, I just don't even know what the point of running this channel is. In the last month, I have received 2 copyright strikes, not copyright claims, copyright strikes, which means if I get another one, the channel's gone. The first one was for a 30-second video of a tarantula crawling on the pavement. Okay. And then the second one was literally a 30-second video of a turtle biting the tick off of a rhinoceros's butt. So, apparently, those are not things that I can do. And I know, and I'm not getting these for videos that I just released. So this isn't new stuff that's coming out. This is stuff that I've released months and months ago. And I know that there's lots of other animal videos that I watched or go, hey, talking about this animal, that animal in Cryptic Corner, pop over and say, this is the behavior I'm talking about. I know there's lots of those scattered throughout my stream history. So since this isn't live, they're not actually pulling this stuff now. Anytime they could find one of my videos, find a clip that's 30, all it has to do is be over 30 seconds, apparently. The algorithm is not picky. They're all 30 seconds, all the ones that I've got. I've actually had 3, but the first one fell off before the second 2 came in, and it was for the bird bouncing the golf ball on the pavement. I got a strike for that. So, Yeah, I'd like to say it's all fair use, and I do challenge them as fair use, but I have a backup channel. That's what I'm going to get to. So if for some reason if YouTube pulls my channel down, I will not continue to do live from the Hive here because there's no point for me to be able to do what I want to do. I'm not going to be able to do it here if that's the way they're going to be about it. So I will probably, if and when they do yank me down for what I consider fair use, for me using videos for educational purposes, but whatever, we'll see how the challenges go. I would be moving over to moving the live from the Hive over to Twitch, right? That's where I would do, and then I'll probably use one of my backup channels and just switch it to a Cryptic Corner channel and just upload the Cryptic Corner videos there specifically, and just keep Cryptic Corner on high, because Cryptic Corner is the main thing that I want to focus on for the YouTube content for a Hive site anyway. If you haven't noticed, I've kind of pared down how I'm doing my premieres and stuff. I only premiere the live from the Hive. Yeah, I know they're cracking down on everything with their rules. And so I'm just saying, if I'm gone, if that's how it's gonna be, because I'm gonna still need to show you guys that what a animal does. Just for example, if I'm watching a video about Bigfoot and I need to show you guys a video of a bear scratching its back on a tree to show you the behavior, I'm gonna do it because that's what I'm saying. I'll go to Twitch for my live streaming, is how I'll do it. And then I'll just use right now. YouTube's my only home. YouTube's the only home that I've ever had for live from the Hive. So, if they want to start pulling me down for the animal clips, this channel, at least in this format, can't do that. I will still have content that I'll still be producing on YouTube, though. I'm still going to be a YouTube producer because I still have the Transpositions up and running, right? I'm still head producer on that. That channel is growing exponentially. It's great. I mean, we're not like taking off like a rocket or anything, but every week we're growing and growing. Whereas Live from the Hive kind of, don't have a problem with Live from the Hive plateauing anyway. It's that's not the issue. Live from the Hive is here for it's basically my little therapy, once a week therapy session where I get to talk about whatever I want. So no, if they take my channel down, then I'll move to Twitch, because Twitch doesn't have those tight of regulations on me showing clips, like animal clips and stuff, right? I'm like and the thing is, I don't know, because they're pulling it from videos from months or even videos from last year. Is where I'm getting these from. It'd be like a 30-second clip in a video we watched last year while we were talking about. Yeah, I don't remember what the. Well, I know the turtle one. That's from when we were talking about ectoparasites. And the turtles cleaning the ticks off of the rhinoceros. I know when this stuff where it originates from. Yeah, I know I've worked so hard on this. Yeah, and I don't know if it's people actively doing it, but I generally look for fair use stuff. I've always tried to keep when I watch an animal clip, try to keep it under a minute, or generally try to keep it less than that. But when you're live streaming, it's hard to keep time and stuff. But anyway, I'm going to continue what I'm doing in the meantime. But just to let you guys know, the channel could just vanish at any point. All it takes is just one then to find one more 30-second clip. Another thing is, you all might notice that I'm not all dolled up today. I've been putting makeup on, and there's a reason for that too. Mostly because I'm a petty bitch. Because someone told me that I'm only a woman, and 10 pounds of makeup doesn't make me a woman. I'm a woman anyway. They told me that on freaking Facebook. Been dealing with a lot of chuds on Facebook lately. It's it's endless. It never seems to end. Someone told me that you only look like that because you're 10 pounds of makeup. It's like, no, I look like this all the time. The makeup just accentuates some of my feminine features. I already look like a pretty girl, and I could steal your boyfriend like this. I'm not gonna pretend like like I need to get all dolled up in order to be attractive. So no, I this is how I look. Deal with it, and yeah, Facebook is Chud City, absolutely. Okay, so that I had a lot of house cleaning to do. This week I go back to work. By the way, I was supposed to go back. I thought I was supposed to go back on Friday, but I had one more day before I could go back. Yeah. So I go back to work this week, so I'm gonna be more stressed. I've been off work. I don't know who's keeping up with me, but I had a really bad episode back in March, and I haven't been back to work. I had I sometimes suffer from severe attacks, anxiety attacks that are just hard to deal with. And I just wanted to yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know on that front. As far as that goes, I'm gonna be back into work. It's like it's been a minute, and that last anxiety attack I had was like the worst one I've ever had. So we're gonna wear that and see how it goes. I'm also going to be switching therapists, so that's another thing that's going on in my life to make things more tumultuous. Because I'm going to be switching to someone who specializes in assisting trans women through their transition, which will be good. I'm gonna get a specialist. What else? Today is May the 4th, and May the 4th be with you. This is Star Wars Day, and that means that tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May. So we'll be doing another Mexican themed cryptid cryptic corner today. So we'll be there as well. Let me see what there was something else, and I can't think of it. Oh yeah, last night did everybody watch the episode of Cryptic Review? We haven't done one in forever, but I had Don Prothero. We had Thomas from Wild World, Nikki Cologne from Sasquatch Secrets, and then our very own Captive Dust Dave last night. It was fun. It was one of the funnest panels I've hosted in a long time. Donald always makes it fun. So, and he's brilliant. And then we had other brilliant minds coming together. And I did consider doing Nessie today for just to keep it going. But just reading y'all flattering me out there. You're sweet. You're very sweet people. Thank you so much. I try to be more self-confident. Actually, it was the interview that Steph did with Sarah last week. Afterwards, we were hanging out, and I was talking to her and about just some stuff, and she's like a life coach, so it was a good talk. I like Sarah. Sarah's good people. So if you didn't see that, Steph, if you want to drop a link to that interview as well, go check that out. The TheTransPositions news is, like I said, is doing really good. We're growing, getting more influential. We're having some great guests over there. So if you're into that sort of thing, go check it out. But if you're into the cryptozoology and stuff, stay right here with Live from the Hive until they yank us down from YouTube for giving you the truth, for showing you what a bear does in the woods. Oh, right. Oh, man, now I'm all blurry. See, that's my problem. I come at the camera, and my camera doesn't do the auto adjust right. So now I'm all blurry, and I'll have to go back out here and do this. And then go back in and do this again, because I have to switch the camera resolution capture back and forth to make it stick. Oh, yep. Hello, Robin Webster. Good to see ya. All right, everybody. It's 6 minutes now into Cryptic Corner time, and we got some stuff to get through in Cryptic Corner. It's not going to be a huge one, but it's going to be a fun one. I'll see you guys right over there. Hello, and welcome to Cryptic Corner, the little corner of the internet where we take a look at the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal, and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I'm your host, Miss Bumblebee, and back to stick my nose and scrutiny into yet another cultural myth. And legendary creature, because today we are looking at the Latin American onza. What is an onza? Well, technically an onza is a jaguarundi. But maybe a little bit different. I don't know. We're going to dig in and find out. So if you like creepy kitties, stick around, because we cover them a lot here in Cryptic Corner. I actually have to regulate myself from talking about cryptic cats nonstop. And and kind of try to break it up with other stuff, because it's so much fun to cover. Anyway, let us go ahead. Yeah, I hope I don't go down too. But we'll, like I said, if the channel does go down, I got a backup plan. We will persevere. It just, I would say having a backup channel on here is just not gonna cut it, because even if they do, I'm still gonna want to cover what I cover. I'm still gonna want to do it that way. So, cryptic kitties are one of my favorites. They're not Loch Ness Monster like we talked about last night, or Bigfoot like we talk about every other week, but they are pretty prominent in our cultural zeitgeist. And they've actually been popping up in things here recently too. Not specifically the onza, but it definitely, if the onza is a jaguarundi, this definitely fits that description. But let's see. Sighting of a mysterious animal in the Phoenix Mountains Preserve leaves officials puzzled. The sighting of a mysterious big cat in Phoenix Mountain Preserve have left officials puzzled as to what it could be. On November 9th, a YouTube account under the name Jen Fletcher posted a 23-second video of an ominous creature in the mountain range near her home. The video has since garnered 15K views as of Wednesday, with several users taking to the comments to identify the animals, or the animal, just one. Some suggest that it could be a jaguar, a panther, a jaguarundi, or maybe a fat house cat. Experts with the Arizona Game and Fish Department share their confusion as well, only being able to rule out what it isn't. It's not one of our native big cat species, a mountain lion, a bobcat, an ocelot, or a jaguar. Arizona Game and Fish Department spokesperson Tom Caden, not Todd Camden. I don't know where I got Todd Camden is. There's no Todd Camden in any of this reporting whatsoever. It's Tom Caden. Told the Arizona Republic it's pretty big for a house cat. Other theories, according to Caden, however, is that it could be an exotic cat that someone obtained and somehow escaped. But that's just speculation, Caden noted. And we're actually going to see that interview here in a second. As officials continue to try to identify the creature, Caden said that their radio dispatch center is not receiving any additional calls regarding the sighting. The Game and Fish Department will be looking for more reports of the sighting and encounters. All big cat encounters, attacks, or sightings in urban areas should be reported to dispatch at 623-236-7201. That's their big cat attack line, apparently. But just a little short write-up on this story. I don't know if they have the whole video here. There's our kitty. Definitely a kitty. I have my thoughts. Wait. What? Hold on. We're just going to launch it here. There we are. Here, we'll do it this way. Much better. Much clearer image. Okay. So we got a black cat. Looks like it's about maybe 30 feet up the side of the mountain there, crawling among the slag. Yeah, I have my thoughts on it. We can watch that news report though, see what they say.
Middle of Phoenix, so not anything.
Good afternoon, everyone, and a viral video right here showing an unidentified animal in the Phoenix Mountain Preserve has a lot of people guessing.
Easy with that background music.
12 News journalist William Pitts shows us even the experts are guessing.
Well, I kind of question your experts.
The video is not that great. You're looking at that little black spot in the middle. Wait for it to move.
Yeah, this is part of the reason why I wanted to watch this one. No, because it's zooms in very, very close.
It slinks over some rocks. The original poster said this was in Phoenix Mountain Preserve near Cave Creek Road in Peoria. They had one question. What is this thing? Comments on Reddit went from house cat to jaguar to chupacabra to, well, of course, it went to aliens eventually.
Of course.
We showed the video to a team from Arizona Game and Fish and Southwest Wildlife Conservation Center.
That's pretty far. It looks pretty far away.
I don't think it's a domestic cat.
You don't think it's a cat?
This is Todd, or Tom,
We're just as
whatever.
bad as everyone
Yeah.
else. In the end, it was easier to figure out what this thing is not.
It's clearly not a mountain lion or a bobcat. We have ocelots, rarely. It's not an ocelot, they're a spotted cat. And then bobcats, which are spotted.
It's probably not a bear, not with a tail like that. Jaguars, we've only ever seen a handful.
So, a few things here. Ocelots, as far as I can tell, they just don't, there's no melanism, no full melanism at all. I looked and looked for melanism in ocelots and could not find a good example. You look up melanism in ocelots, you get a whole bunch of pampas cats, which are another South American cat that's generally spotted, but they do have a black melanistic morph. You got jaguars that come in a black morph. You have oncillas, which can be melanistic, but ocelots, nope. Jaguarundis, very much so. Jaguarundis are always solid one color or another. They're generally darker than a cougar. That's their closest relative is the cougar. And they'll run a gamut from sort of a dark red to a full-on black, and there's every shade of gray and black in between. I don't think this is that, though. I'm just to make that clear. Now, this guy said a bobcat is another spotted cat, but bobcats, on the other hand, can be melanistic. It's very rare, but would not expect to see it in Arizona. We're not expecting melanism in any cat in Arizona, because melanism is generally something that takes place or that finds success in a more tropical region. The closer you get to the equator, or the denser the jungles get, whichever happens first, that's where you're going to find melanistic cats thriving, because they thrive in their melanism gives them that counter shade to hide in the depths of the forest. The jaguars definitely live in Arizona, right? They come in a melanistic form, but we've never seen a melanistic jaguar at least not like officially in Arizona. Now, the other big cat in North America is a cougar. Cougars do not come in black either. We've had whole videos about the cougars, right? We've talked about that, haven't we, Hive? We've discussed that, hey, cougars don't have a melanistic form. Anyway, let's...
Followed them over 30 years, and all of them are down by the Mexican border. This is in the middle of Phoenix, so not anything local.
The Mexican border is also where you're going to find the ocelots and the jaguarundi. They don't get too far up into the U.S. at all. They just hug the mountains up into Arizona. This very southern part of Arizona. Now the jaguars will also move over into Texas. Jaguarundis hug the coast up into Texas. Actually, pretty far up into Texas. I don't think ocelots live in Texas at all.
Likely an animal that was in captivity that escaped.
Jim DeVos with Game and Fish is guessing it's an exotic animal, something brought into the valley illegally that either got out or was abandoned. Maybe a black cougar.
Wait, is that him?
Who knows? With Game and Fish is guessing it's
most likely an animal that was in captivity that escaped.
Jim DeVos with Game and Fish is guessing it's an exotic animal, something
Jim
brought into the
DeVos.
valley illegally that either got out or was abandoned. Maybe a black cougar, black panther, who knows? But Game and Fish is not going after it.
I think until we see some type of unacceptable behavior, a close encounter with a human, an aggressive encounter with a human, then it's out there, and the chances of us being able to go out and find that particular animal again.
Yeah, cats aren't, if they don't want to be found, they aren't found.
Unless it's constantly getting into trouble, is very, very slick.
So whatever this thing is, it's still out there, and it's still unidentified.
So it's probably back at home, curled up on someone's lap right now, because this, my friends, is a house cat. This, my friends, is a house cat. It's not a jaguar, not a jaguarundi, not a ocelot, not a mountain lion, not a black panther. It's a fairly large male house cat. There's lots of reasons I know that, but let's look at the video and recap here. Should I watch? I'm going to do this one because it doesn't have the audio over it. All right, so let's rewatch. This problem with this one is it doesn't zoom in, though. But you can see, and Sumami, you know what I'm talking about when we talk about these big neutered male house cats. You can see the flaps right there when it pops down off the rock. Watch. You can see its little flaps. See them? That's a house cat. It is probably your cat, Sumami. And it moves like a house cat. There was times looking at this where I watched it, I'm like, well, maybe that is a jaguarundi. Too much ears, though. Jaguarundis have very tiny ears. I'll show you guys what a jaguarundi looks like. Let me see. And I'm probably going to get my channel yoinked for this, but this shouldn't be. This is only like 10 seconds. It shouldn't. Jaguarundi. You can see why they're sometimes called the otter head cat. because they have tiny heads or tiny long heads with tiny ears. And they have really long tails. They do come in black though. This is like a russet form here, but that's not. That ain't this. This is Tom. This is Sylvester. This is a invasive domestic cat exploring the bluff. Yeah. And if you look up here, the trees, you can kind of get an idea. I know there's nothing for scale here, but if we look at the trees up here, look at the trees. We have look at the trees in the live chat. Look at the trees up here. Look at the trees down here. And we can kind of scale this based just on tree structure. If you know kind of how these are going to grow and branch, we can scale it. It's not going to be perfect, but I can tell you that what we're looking at here is not anything weighing over 5 kilograms. It's not that big. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this one. But I think cats can, like domestic cats, can get even bigger than this. Now was there another one? Yeah, there's this one. This is in Texas. Hold on, I'm gonna close these out. I don't like so many tabs open. This one's in Texas, and again, I mean, what is there to say? How is this anything but a? I like how they spelled feral, like Will Ferrell, like the actor. Is this a feral cat? Did it play Elf? Is it in Talladega Nights? Does it want to go fast? Is that a Ricky Bobby cat out there? No, that's a house cat. Just another house cat. So yeah, all these videos are house cats. But there is a legendary creature, and I'm sorry I couldn't find one without a robot voice that covers this topic. But we're gonna watch some this video about the Onza, the big cat of Mexican legend.
Welcome to Mexico Unexplained, where we will explore the magic, the mysteries, and the miracles of Mexico. This series presents information based partly on theory and conjecture. The podcaster's purpose is to suggest some possible explanation, but not necessarily the only ones to the subjects we will examine. Here is your host, Robert Bitto.
Welcome, and muy bienvenidos to episode number 132 of Mexico Unexplained, where we examine the magic, the mysteries, and the miracles of Mexico. I'm your host.
Go Mexico. I haven't been to Mexico before, but I would love to go down there. Like my favorite kind of beer to drink is cerveza, which cerveza just is Mexican for beer, but there's something in the way that they cultivate it down there that gives it this skunky, almost marijuana-like taste, which I love. So, yeah, Viva la Mexico.
Host Robert Bitto. In the mid-1930s, two experienced American hunters, Dale and Clell Lee, began a small hunting guide operation in the wild Sierra Madre of the Mexican state of Sonora. The Lee brothers had quite a profitable business taking other visiting hunters, mostly other fellow Americans, on hunting excursions in the northwestern Mexican wilderness. For a special client, Indiana banker Joseph Shirk, the Lees relocated their operations temporarily to the south in 1938 to the mountains of the state of Sinaloa. Shirk wanted to hunt jaguars, and La Silla Mountain, which was rich in all sorts of wildlife, was their destination. On this week-long trip, the three hunters eventually treed and shot a very large cat, which was neither a jaguar or a cougar, the two types of large felines native to Mexico. This cat was much larger than a jaguar or cougar, and its ears, legs, and body were longer than either type of traditional Mexican wildcat.
So, I think there's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge in this type of reporting to the American cheetah. Let me see. Y'all probably know about the American cheetah, but let me pull up just some quick information. Miracinonyx. Should be a good one here. Yeah, this should show us. It's an extinct, and I think that's what this picture here is actually of. No, I don't want your ads. So this is Miracinonyx trumani. I get regular updates in my email about this fossil species because it's like one of my favorites in the whole world. It's extinct species of cheetah-like cat that roam North America, closely related to the cougar. And there's kind of the wink wink nudge nudge that's what we're looking at here. Anyway, continuing on.
The Lees had heard rumors of an altogether different feline Mexican predator called an onza, and were convinced that this example belonged to that class of creatures only previously described in legends and vague historical accounts.
Slava Mexicali, is that how you describe that type of beer? I would love to have a word for it, a term for it. Modella Negra with tagine on the rim. Is that? Yeah. So Modella is a great beer. Modella. I also like. Corona is the Americanized version of it, but I like Corona. Land Shark has that taste too. It's a Baja brew. Well, I mean that's Wild World, and Wild World this is Wild World who was on the Nessie stream last night. Good morning, good to see ya. Yeah, as far as so pronghorn, which are sometimes called antelope, but they're not really antelope. They're closer related to giraffes. Are so fast because they believe that they were hunted by these prehistoric predators. They could run up to 61 miles an hour. I've actually had the pleasure of seeing pronghorn in the wild. And the problem pronghorn have, and why they kind of struggle and more when you get down more into the southwest, more so than up in the northwest, is because they can't jump over fences as well. And there's more fences across the desert than there are across the mountains. So they get in the Great Basin area, pronghorns have a lot of struggle with navigating their ancestral range and doing their ancestral migrations. But yeah, that is I mean, there are antelope that actually live with real cheetahs that don't run as fast as a pronghorn. Like the fastest antelope in Africa is the springbok, and it's like 55 miles an hour, which is a freaking fast. I mean, faster than anything ever needs to be to escape anything but a cheetah. So the theory is why did pronghorns run so fast when their fastest predator in North America is the cougar, which runs somewhere around like 45 to 46 miles an hour, I think is the top end. And they only run that distance or that speed for a short distance, but cheetah only run their speed for a short distance too. So we got to keep that in mind. The thing is, cougars aren't necessarily built specifically for that pursuit lifestyle to run them down like you see in cheetahs. Cheetahs have a lot of specializations to take down prey at high speeds. They got specialized nasal cavities that are unique among the cats. They have racing spike claws. They have now the American cheetah. Myrionyx did not have. I don't believe did not have the non-retractable claws like we see in. Where did I put that? Like we see in true cheetahs. I think they still had semi-retractable claws, but they the elbow joints, things like that. I get regular updates on this fossil species. We don't know how fast they could run, but they do have the big barrel rib cage like a cheetah does. So, I mean, the speculation is not that far off. We don't know if they had the other specializations like the nasal cavities and things like that, but they did at least have the similar lung capacity and physiology. But yeah, as far as pronghorns go, they they can run 61 miles an hour, and that's one of the leading theories as to why is because they think that they were escaping the American cheetah. A matter of fact, let's just read this quick section from Wikipedia that cites in the National Geographic article Losing Ground. The pronghorn is the fastest land mammal in the Western Hemisphere, being built for maximum predator evasion through running. The top speed dependent upon the length of time over which is measured. It can run 35 miles an hour, 42 miles an hour for up to a mile, and 55 miles an hour for up to half a mile. So that's pretty fast. Although it is slower than the African cheetah, it could sustain a top speed much longer than a cheetah. The pronghorn may have evolved its running ability to escape the now extinct predator such as the American cheetah, since its speed is greatly exceeds that of the extant North American predators. That's quoting. And when you pull up Wikipedia, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you pull up Wikipedia, you make sure that you're looking at the citations that are available here. So right now, I'm not thrilled with these citations because I'll tell you, this is giving us Smithsonian Magazine. Smithsonian Magazine and National Geographic are both pop science magazines, not the best resources for good information. So let's look and see where else we're getting things from. We have Smithsonian again, and the American pronghorn social adaptations as ghost predators of the past. Let's open that up and have a look. And this is going to be the scholarly citations for what Wild World was pointing out there about the social adaptations. Ghost predators of the past is going to talk about the predation of the pronghorn by its current predators and by its proposed past predators. And it looks like they have some decent charting and stuff of behavior. Let's see. It's just activity. Anyway, yeah, so a nice little tangent I went on there about the American cheetah, but it's coincidentally very topical today, so yeah. Yeah, National Geographic is not terrible, but if you look at National Geographic, it's still going to tell you an anaconda can weigh up to 500 pounds. No, I've never. I'm not saying that they can't, but there's never been an anaconda, as far as I know. There's never been a snake that weighs that much, a living snake that weighs 500 pounds. It's been weighed. As far as I can tell, I've never seen a snake that weighs over 400 pounds weighed. At least not any honest weight for it. I welcome someone to present it to me. The Bible is a good read, especially, yes, Dr. Mordecai, especially if you add in the Book of Enoch. You add in the Book of Enoch, it turns it into an epic fantasy. What's a pronghorn? I'm not familiar with a pronghorn deer. Is that a real species? I'm usually pretty good at knowing all the species and all the animals. It's my superpower, so I don't know what a pronghorn deer is. Prawn king? Prawn. I know what a prawn is. And sometimes when people say prawn, they mean switching the O and the R around. I don't want to watch deer do that.
The hunters measured and photographed the great cat and then butchered it. Joseph Shirk took the skin and the skull of the animal back home to Indiana with him. The Lees shared their experience with zoologists and the American press, but were not taken seriously.
Now that's a stylized jaguar, right? That's if we look at the spotting on it. These are rosettes. That's how you tell the difference between a leopard and a jaguar. It's the spotting. The jaguar will have the spots around the outside here, and then a darker area with more spots inside. These are called rosettes. With a leopard, it'll have the darker area outside, and then the area within as well that's shaded, but there will not be the little spots inside there. So it's a good way to tell the difference.
By either. After their
My brother had a Maine Coon native atheist. It was huge. He was like holding a bobcat.
bad experiences, they only shared their story reluctantly some 20 years after the event, and this time with Arizona author Robert Marshall. After interviewing the Lees, Marshall went down to Sinaloa in search of the legendary cat and published a book in 1961 titled simply.
Now, this is, in my opinion, they're going to say that this isn't Onza, but in my opinion, this is a cougar, a mountain lion, a puma, a catamount, if you will. It's a young one, too. It's like a teenager, a gangly teenager. Probably has not been away from mommy for very long. Like, has that milk-fed look. And see how long the limbs are compared to the rib cage. It's what makes me think it's a teenager. It may not even be sexually mature yet, but it's probably on its own. It looks like it's big enough to be on its own, but just speculating, of course. Anybody who's a big cat expert can correct me, but yeah, this looks like a teenager to me.
The Onza. Pre-Hispanic Aztec accounts record a third large cat on the western fringes of the empire called the Cuitlamitli. The great personal zoo of Emperor Montezuma in the heart of the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan had a few specimens of Cuitlamitli in its collection of animals.
I covered this before when I went over the mystery cats of South America, but I feel it's pertinent to do it again. It's important to not colonize the language of the indigenous people and their way that they sorted out their big cats, because culturally they can have a different number of species than we have scientifically, right? To them, the most prominent example, of course, is that to most of these indigenous cultures in Central and South America, the black jaguar and the regular jaguar were unique species. There were also the different shades of cougar. You know how we have the larger, more buff-colored phenotypes that thrive in the upper mountains, but the smaller, darker-colored ones thrive down in the basin. So those were two different species to these indigenous cultures. So when the great white hunter, much like when they go out looking for dinosaurs, when they go out and talk to these indigenous populations, they're like, oh yeah, well, this is the jaguar. What we want to know about a different species of cat. And they're like, oh yeah, there's ones that look like this, and look like that, and we call them this, and we give them this name. It does not mean scientifically to Western science that they are a unique species, right? It just means that they have a unique color morph.
Aldeas del Castillo, part of the initial party of Spanish conquistadors who entered the Aztec capital as
Hey, flying Brian. Hopefully you're experiencing the spring blossom up there in Canada, and hopefully you aren't going to be running into any mystery big cats in the wilds of Canada.
Invited guests describe 3 different types of large cats in the Great Zoo. Theus writes about a part of the zoo where the emperor housed what he called the, quote, carnivorous beasts of prey, end quote, and among these animals existed, quote, tigers and 2 kinds of lions, end quote. The early Spanish explorers tended to use Spanish words to describe...
Now, tiger, the tigre, Tigre, is what the Spanish called jaguars. That's essentially was their word for pantherines. I imagine they called cougars that too, even though cougars aren't really pantherines. They're felines. But they wouldn't have known that back then. Big cat, little cat.
New animals discovered in their conquered territories, thus causing some confusion among people reading their accounts many years later. The tigers, according to Theus, meant our understanding of jaguars. The 2 kinds of lions phrase is a bit of a mystery. As already mentioned, besides the jaguar,
It's really not. It's that's just colonize. And I'm not telling this person specifically a colonizer. It's colonizer thinking, though, to say that's a unique species. The two kinds of lions that Montezuma had in his menagerie may have very well been two color morphs of jaguar or two color morphs of cougar. Just to name a couple of options here, because that's how indigenous populations would have sorted these. They didn't put them on a phylogeny. They didn't chart their genetic ancestry, right? They didn't try to sort of how they were related to each other, or if they could interbreed. They just paid attention to the phenotypic traits of the organisms, which is essentially size, anatomical features, and color. Right? Again, this is to me looks like a teenage mountain lion. I know I keep showing this. I'm sorry.
in Mexico there is only one type of other large cat known by 3 different names: the cougar, puma, or mountain lion. What was the second type of lion? Was it the Cuitlamitzli, or what was later called the onza? In some research about Bernal Diaz's account of the Aztec zoo, some writers allege that Diaz describes the second lion as being, quote, something like a wolf, end quote. Looking at the original writings of the Spanish chronicler, this is not the case. Diaz quickly moves on from his...
Something like a wolf. The only felines I would think that you would say would look something like a wolf would be maybe like a lynx or a bobcat. It's not out of the question for someone as powerful as Montezuma, because Canadian lynx would have ranged quite a ways down the Rockies at that time. It's not out of the question that they could have had one in his menagerie. Not saying that he did, but that would look more like a wolf than any species of mountain lion or jaguar. Just because they have the mottled gray color, because they live in a similar environment and use similar camouflage. Well, I don't think it's the mountain lion that we said might have been malnourished, but just from inexperienced hunting, so not being a very good hunter, because it looks very young. I'm just basing that off the expanse of the rib cage and the length of the limbs.
is, quote, 2 types of lions, end quote, to describe, quote, animals something like wolves and foxes and other smaller carnivorous animals, end quote. He was most likely describing coyotes. His misattributed wolf references have nothing to do with the legendary onza.
Well, I mean, a wolf, they would have known what they wouldn't have mixed up wolves and coyotes, right? Because we're talking about Mexico, we're not talking about Australia. These people lived with wolves, the Mexican wolf, Canis lupus lobos, and they lived with coyotes, like in spades. Not a lot different than the coyotes we have today, because most of our coyotes today have admixtures of gray wolf that makes them a little bit, at least in the east here, makes them a little bit bigger. They're probably still pretty genetically pure down in the southwest and into Mexico, but up here I'm in Illinois, but even in Missouri, our coyotes are a whole different animal. They're basically like half wolf, half coyote. They're bigger and more woofy looking. They have smaller ears, and I didn't realize that until I took my desert Southwest road trip, that the coyotes up down there look totally different. The coyotes down there look much more fox-like than our coyotes up here, and they're a lot leaner, which explains why the coyote from the Roadrunner cartoons looks so lean.
In fact, other than mentioning 2 types of lions, he offers no specific details at all. More than 2 centuries after Bernal Diaz, the Jesuits of the western fringes of colonial New Spain described the onza. In his 2-volume treatise, Sonora, a description of the province, German-born Father Ignaz Pfefferkorn wrote with great respect of this gigantic cat, quote, "It is not as timid as the cougar, and he who ventures to attack it must be well on his guard." End quote. Another Jesuit priest, Father Johann Jakob Beger, wrote in a letter to his family in France,
I don't know anybody who would describe a cougar as timid. That's kind of a wild descriptor for a cougar, in my opinion. Cougars are anything but timid.
that, quote, "An onça dared to invade my neighbor's mission when I was visiting and attacked a 14-year-old boy in broad daylight. A few years ago, another killed the strongest and most respected soldier in the area." End quote. The authorities in Rome posted,
Ooh, giving it some powers. Take down the strongest soldier in town. So now it's got it leveled up from being a lanky teenage cougar to being something that's taken down this actively hunting humans. Of course, you got to go there, right? It's got to be it's got to be a growing legend. It's got to continue, or else it'll die out completely.
Beger to the remote mission of San Luis Gonzaga in the mountains of the southern Baja Peninsula. This gives modern-day researchers a rough idea of the supposed range of the onça.
Wait, so now we're in the Baja. Are we down to what's that forest at the end of the Baja Peninsula called? It's this really unique forest. Let me see, Baja, California, and then not Mexicali. There's a name for this forest down here at the bottom. It's super. It's this super unique, like sort of like there's desert, right, and then there's these mountain ranges where it raises them up, just so they're just high enough above. That it breaks the Pacific, the breeze coming out the Pacific that dries out the rest of it. It breaks that and it actually allows it to accumulate some rain. I'm trying to find out. Give me just a second here. Where's the regions? Yeah, there we go. The Sierra de Laguna has a super isolated endemic population of organisms. Let me show you. I found it, so let me show you. Here we go. So, Sierra de Laguna. And it has, this is home to many endemic species and subspecies. Some of the more common plants, and blah, blah, blah. It gives you just some details about what kind of organism. But the most important thing I want to take away from this is that there's indicism. Trip over my own words. Endemic organisms, yeah, indicism, that live in this region. So maybe that's the claim here. Let's find out.
Mountains of Sonora and Sinaloa all the way across the Sea of Cortez to the wild and inaccessible areas of Baja. Stories of the Mexican onça trickled out of the great...
Thank you for liking and subbing, Flying Brian. We appreciate ya.
Cat's territories over the ensuing centuries, and besides the story of the Lee brothers in the late 1930s, there have been a few other reports of this creature to gain the attention of the outside world. In 1926, cowboy C.B. Ruggles supposedly shot an onça near the Yaqui River in the state of Sonora. Ruggles took photos of the creature and wrote about its sleek body and the...
I think that's this one. Is it? What year was it?
C.B. Ruggles supposedly shot an onça near the Yaqui River in the state of Sonora. Ruggles took photos of the creature and wrote about its sleek body and the cat's thin, spotted legs, often reported by other eyewitnesses. Sometime before 1930...
Maybe it was it. So these pictures... This one also looks like a cougar to me. I don't see anything that stands out to us to say that it's any other species of cat besides Puma concolors.
Yes, sometime before 1930, American naturalist Frank Dobie reported shooting an onca that was caught in a trap. He skinned the cat, but the pelt did not survive a bug infestation and disintegrated before he could get it to the United States for further examination.
Well, at least it didn't disappear into the Smithsonian, as so many of these things allegedly do. Oh, we gave it to the Smithsonian and we never heard back. That's always these frontier tales, how they end. But, so when the Spanish explorers came to South America, do you think the wildcats were telling stories about encountering a weird new species of humans? I imagine if cats have some way of conveying messages to their offspring, that they probably were warning them more about the stench of gunpowder and the danger of the musket ball at that time than a new species. I don't know the conquistadors probably looked pretty weird because they had like armor and stuff. I imagine that the wildlife was probably like, what the hell is that? Like there were robots or something.
Few reports that did make it out of Mexico attracted derision from scientists, who often claimed that people citing the mythical cat were misidentifying the common cougar. With a curious encounter in January of 1986, the onca only really began to pique the interest of cryptozoologists, or those who seek to discover, describe, and study legendary creatures. Mexican rancher Andres Rodriguez Murillo.
So that's the thing too, is you got to remember that the different species are going to be different phenotypes that are prevalent in certain populations. You're going to have different phenotypes that are going to be like the eastern cougar had different phenotypes than the western cougar, right? They were smaller. They were darker. Allegedly, the eastern cougar was melanistic. I don't believe that they were, but allegedly, according to, Laura Ingalls Wilder, I guess, eastern cougars could be melanistic, but there's no record of that on file at all, anywhere, other than in frontier tales. But different phenotypic populations at this time are going to be called, a unique species of cat. It's just the way that they did things back. Even though, I know they're talking about colonization, but even the settlers would have their own descriptors for these, for the huge cougars that live up in the Rockies compared to the smaller ones that live down in the woods. They have darker fur and are much smaller.
Shot an enormous cat on his Sinaloa ranch. The rancher fired on the creature as it was about to attack him. Rodriguez later gave a detailed description of what he shot. It was not a cougar or a jaguar, but much larger and with a slender body and long legs like an African cheetah. It also had large ears and dark markings on its legs. The rancher showed the carcass to his neighbor, an experienced hunter named Manuel Vega. Vega told Rodriguez that his father had killed a similar animal in the 1970s, and he still had the animal's skull. To Manuel Vega, there was no doubt. They had before them the legendary onca. The two decided to preserve the specimen by freezing it and contacted a cryptozoologist. They reached out to J. Richard Greenwell, at that time the secretary of the International Society of Cryptozoology, or ISC. Greenwell had a particular interest in the onca and had already managed to track down and examine 2 alleged onca skulls. After sufficient back and forth,
Let's take a quick moment. Look at Greenwell's article here, just to make sure that we're being fair and balanced. J. Richard Greenwell was a cryptozoologist, an explorer. He participated in expeditions to look for mysterious creatures or cryptids. He was the secretary of the International Society of Cryptozoology from its inception to his death. Born in Surrey, England, Greenwell traveled to South America and stayed there for 6 years. He later traveled to Tucson, Arizona, where he was appointed research coordinator for the Office of Arid Land Studies at the University of Arizona. So that's not too bad. Cryptozoology Expeditions, 1982. After a discussion with Roy Mackal, Greenwell helped to found the International Society for Cryptozoology. With funding from the society, he was able to travel the planet searching for Bigfoot, the Onza, and Mokilembe. He also journeyed to China along with anthropologist Frank Poirier to try to discover the urine, the Chinese version of Bigfoot. All expeditions were unsuccessful, as you know, because if any cryptozoological expedition was successful, we'd be reporting on it here. But okay, just get an idea who they're talking about.
Fourth, the Rodriguez specimen made it to the Regional Diagnostic Laboratory of Animal Pathology, belonging to Mexico's Ministry of Agriculture, located in Mazatlan, Sinaloa. Under the direction of American cougar researcher Dr. Troy Best, a Mexican team carefully dissected the gigantic cat and subjected it to intense scientific scrutiny. Richard Greenwell assisted. In his lab note,
You're going to keep calling it a gigantic cat. I'm going to need some measurements. I don't just take that at face value. It's because gigantic is subjective. Give me some data.
Greenwell wrote, quote, "Upon inspection, the cat, a female, appeared to be as described by the native people. It had a remarkable gracile body with long, slender legs and a long tail. The ears also seemed very long for a puma, about 100 millimeters, and small horizontal stripes were found on the inside of its forelimbs, which, as far as has been determined to date, are not found on pumas. Well-developed mammae were observed, and its age was determined to be at least 4 years. It weighed about 27 kilograms. In life prior to freezing, it probably weighed a little more, compared to a range of from 36 to 60 kilograms in adult female pumas. Its total length, at 186 centimeters, fell within the normal range of female pumas from 150 to 200.
Why are they calling it huge when it's 27 kilograms is not huge? That's like, what, like 50 pounds? Let me double check my math there. 60 pounds. So that's not a huge cat. That'd be a average, kind of a small female cougar, or a subadult, which would explain why it could still have spots, because baby cougars have spots.
33 centimeters. The tail, however, was 73 centimeters in length, very long for a female puma of comparable size. The range in female pumas is from 53 centimeters to 81 centimeters." End quote. The team examining the specimen sent blood and tissue samples to the United States for further analysis.
And now, you're talking about the spots and it being too lean and gracile to be a jaguar. Ocelot is kind of... I don't know. Have you all seen an ocelot, right? I'm so afraid to show videos. Maybe I'll just show a picture of it. Yeah, here's an article. All right, let me just show you an ocelot, because they look kind of like a mini jaguar with bigger ears. They're the second biggest spotted cat in the Western world, right? They're pretty robust. They don't get as big as what they're talking about here, 27 kilograms, but they get up to like 22 kilograms. They get pretty good size. They're like bobcat sized. They have shorter tails, though, is one of the things that makes me doubt that this could be it. But 10 to 16 inches. But they do have a very pantherine-like features to them, and they have the larger ears, like they were talking about. Little baby one. Oh, I want to boop him. He's so cute. But yeah, they're got the stripes on the inside of the forelimbs, like they were talking about. Oh, that's contagious. Him yawning made me yawn. This picture of a cat yawning made me yawn. So susceptible to to psychosomatic pressure.
Texas Tech University declared that the Rodriguez specimen had great similarity and no significant differences with a standard cougar. As animals of different species are often close genetically, the Texas Tech preliminary investigation was inconclusive. Greenwell and Best did not follow up with any scientific publications regarding the supposed onça. The vague outcomes from the investigation led researchers to 4 possible conclusions regarding this mythical beast. Number 1. This could truly be a previously unknown species, perhaps a surviving example of the prehistoric Truman's cheetah, a North American variety of the African cheetah that died out 11,000.
It's not a North American variety of African cheetah. It's a convergent relative. It's a relative of the puma that has converged on a similar body plan to the African cheetah. It's no more closer related to the cheetah than the puma is related to the cheetah, as far as we can tell. Yeah, I know Salvador Dali did have an ocelot as a pet.
1,000 years ago. Number 2. This could be a naturally occurring hybrid of a cougar and a jaguar. Number 3. The Rodriguez.
Okay, so the thing about pumas and jaguars, or pumas and any big cat, is that you're talking about a pantherine and a feline, which are 2 subfamilies of cats, right? They're 2 subfamilies. As far as I know, it's actually the most distant related 2 mammals I can think of are, well, no, because camels. Yeah, the camel llama hybrid's probably more distant related. As far as carnivorous hybrids, though, the puma pard is the most distantly related of any cat hybrid that I can think of. Any carnivorous hybrid I can think of. The puma pard. Let's see here. Puma pard were hybrids that actually got created in the 19th century. They were, unlike like a liger or a tigon, the puma pard displayed dwarfism. Puma concolor X Panthera pardus. There they are. They were very small, about the size of a bobcat, and had a distinct look to them. Like they called them little gray pumas with brown rosettes. And that pretty much describes it. So, not saying that this couldn't happen with a jaguar, but this is from a puma pard. So yeah, obviously leopards. That's where they get the pard from. But the pard part of that is key, because cougars and leopards fill the same type of ecological niche, generally speaking. Whereas jaguars, they can fill that niche, but they usually fill the top predator niche with like tigers and lions, with the cougar filling that secondary apex predator. Anyway, let's get this wrapped up here, because we're running over on Cryptic Corner now.
Rodriguez specimen and others could be mutant forms of a common cougar. Number 4. This could be a geographically specific subspecies of a cougar unique to northwestern Mexico. In 1998, more detailed results...
That would be my speculation. Not necessarily a subspecies, but maybe just a haplogroup, or a group with specific phenotypes, essentially.
On the Rodriguez onça were released. Comparative protein and mitochondrial DNA analyses revealed no significant differences between the supposed onça and the North American cougar. Given the many sightings and killings, this was the only specimen that underwent rigorous scientific analysis. Therefore, the researcher must use caution to apply the findings of the Rodriguez case to other reports of the mythical, majestic, gigantic cat of Mexico. Perhaps
it doesn't sound gigantic to me. It sounds within the range of a regular cougar. I love kitty lore too. I have tons of it. Stick around. hang out in the hive if you want to know about different different big cats and little cats and everything in between. I can tell you about the canids. I can tell you about the hybrids. I can tell you about it all. You gotta stick around and with the hive until they take me down. I'm gonna be spreading information on animals throughout the internet.
Sometime in the near future, a rancher or cryptozoologist on the hunt for the onça may show the world a living, breathing creature to put the mystery to rest once and for all. Thank you once again for listening to another episode of Mexico Unexplained. Remember to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Twitter. Tell your...
All right, yeah, I'm gonna subscribe because this is the second time I've watched one of your videos, so definitely I'm here for it. You're doing good work, giving me content to discuss. This is one of their older videos, so it's been, it's just 5 years ago, but Mexico Unexplained, if you're actually wanting to follow up with this group. What do you guys think, though, like as far as the onza, was it a puma hybrid, puma jaguar hybrid? Was it a new species of cryptid? Is it a jaguarundi? The otterhead cat. I wonder why they don't speculate on the jaguarundi at all in any of these conversations about the onza. Probably because it has like the short legs and it's low to the ground. But the word onza, like if you look up onza on YouTube, it will bring up jaguarundis because that's another word for jaguarundi, right? This is the video we just watched, but these are all jaguarundi. All these are jaguarundi. Jaguarundi. Mountain lion. Jaguarundi. But jaguarundis are so cute, and I don't mind them being called the onza. Here's another video on the onza. It did not pop up when I was looking for it earlier, but there's lots of Spanish language ones. You can see that they come in black and stuff. But the coolest thing about them is just closing out all the extra tabs. Is that they can be albino. Look at this albino jaguarundi kitty. See, mommy, look at this. You have to look at it. Oh my gosh.
It's the first time the animal was ever found in the country. Authorities worked with the volunteer fire department to
Oh my gosh.
Officials say the cub's albinism makes survival in the wild difficult because they are predisposed to certain health disorders, and they're also at a disadvantage in the wild since they can't camouflage, making them easy for them to be seen by their prey.
Have you ever seen anything so cute? Oh my gosh. Is there anything I won't say that's so cute about? Probably not, but look at this. Do you see what's on my screen? I want to know, is there an update on it? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Well, no, they're not. Because that's got to be a different cat, right? This says ocelot. But this is a jaguarundi. Did it grow up? I want to know. Did you grow up? Are you still you can't still be a baby. I thought that this was it, but this is an ocelot. I wish we had. That might be it. Let me see. Yeah, somebody's got some Pinterest of albino jaguarundis up here, but I don't know. I don't know if it's the same animal, but that's what it shows. Albino jaguarundi is an adult. Here's a different angle of it. Tiny pictures, though, of course. And that's what I could find. Now this says it's an ocelot, so that's not our jaguarundi, and it has too big of ears, but it's cute too. Ocelots are adorable. But this guy right here,
For her to live out her days in a park like this one. Jaguarundis are a type of puma native to North and South America. They are solitary animals who only meet fellow jaguarundis when mating. After receiving a careful medical exam, this unique cat is moved off to a conservation park in Medellin. For Inside Edition Digital,
yeah, so I'm just muting it so I'm trying to avoid causing myself any kind of trouble. So cute though. Oh, all right. So, yeah, what do you guys think? As far as the Onza goes, is the Onza a puma, a jaguarundi, a ocelot, a jaguar, a mixture of all, maybe, or some other unexplained species? Let me know in the comments down below. And please remember to be kind. Take care, and we will see you next time. All right, don't go anywhere. Live from the Hive audience. Please don't leave me. There is more show to come. So don't go. We're going to do like a brief intermission, and I got some bones to pick. And we will be picking bones. You're not going to want to miss this next segment. So don't go anywhere. Yeah. I'm kind of excited about this next segment, so, and it may change some of the direction on the show, but we'll see. All right. I will see you guys in just a couple of minutes after intermission here.
Hello and welcome. Godless Granny is about a lot of things. I talk about any issue that affects me or on which I have strong opinions. Most frequently, that's religious issues, women's issues, transgender issues, and political issues. I believe in social justice and equality for all. I feel that everyone has a right to believe what they want, but that right doesn't absolve you of criticism of your beliefs. Thus, I criticize both outlying religious ideas and mainstream ideology. I welcome theists to discuss or debate their issues with me live on stream. Contact me on Twitter if you'd like to do that. I was a Christian for 42 years. In my last decade as a believer, I became increasingly liberal, seeing that as being more consistent with biblical ideas. But eventually, the cognitive dissonance between liberal thought and certain parts of the Bible brought me to evolve my theology. I still hung on to the inerrancy of the Bible and continued to look for ways to interpret the Bible to fit reality. But when it was proven to me that the biblical flood did not happen, thank you Aaron Ra, Vice Rhino, and Pelagia, there was no longer anywhere to go. I had to let go of inerrancy. But without the Bible, my faith had no foundation, and then I left the faith. I have since met people of faith who reject inerrancy. I find this a more honest faith, but I also find it a purely human construct. Why believe in a God if you have to make up the God and what the God is all about? I now criticize the very religious beliefs that I held for decades, as I now realize that they not only do not originate from a God that loves me, but that they were dangerous in that they limited me. They limited me as a person by discouraging thought and learning. It restricted my relationships and my ability to develop myself as a person. I hope to do several things here. I hope to reach others of my generation, as we are the primary people that are still holding on to this outdated ideology. Second, I hope to reach the younger generation, imploring them not to follow in my footsteps. And third, I hope to show how the younger generation who has already left the faith can reach their parents. What arguments did I find convincing that will likely convince their parents? So come on in, let's have a chat.
Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to my sci-fails video for today. We are going to be diving into I'm gonna say it, into a grifter. So buckle in. Yeah, may the 4th be with you. It is Star Wars Day here. Always happy to celebrate any kind of holiday. Any reason to celebrate is a reason enough for me. So I don't know if I think most of you all maybe know about the Transpositions, and this is relevant to what I'm talking about today. So, Transpositions is another YouTube channel that I produce for. It's actually I own that channel too. I'm in charge of it. Last week I did a story talking about Bethany Hamilton, the Soul Surfer, the girl who got her arm bitten off, right? Because she is a raging transphobe, unfortunately, due to being evangelical. But unfortunately, all the other transphobes crawl that in that community crawl out of the woodwork as well. And this included somebody who's been on my radar for a while. Who I don't know if y'all are familiar with her or not. Her name's Ocean Ramsey, right? And how much she's been on my radar. I used to actually have in one of my transitions, the little things I do between my videos. I actually had one of the clips of her swimming with a great white shark on there before I started to look into it and realize, hey, this is fucked up. So she came out in favor of Bethany Hamilton boycotting the surf competitions and sponsors and everything because of trans women, right? Just she came out in support of that, said, yes, I'm a transphobe, which is, teach their own. You burn your own bridges on your own time. However, while you're doing that, and you're throwing shade at a different group of people, maybe make sure your own kitchen is clean, because people who actually study, there's a few places. First of all, I want to say Shark Bites did a great video on this, right? Shark Bites is a good channel, 77K subscribers, excellent content. If you like sharks, there's no reason not to subscribe to this channel. He has his take on why Ocean Ramsey is bad. This is why Ocean Ramsey is bad for sharks, and does a nice breakdown. But dude has 77K subscribers, right? He doesn't need my support. This channel, however, is Ben Insanity. Only has 605 subscribers. Smaller than my channel. Not like a lot smaller, but smaller. And I like to give support to smaller channels. And this guy is actually a marine biologist student, which puts him above Ocean Ramsey. So instead of watching Shark Bite, the 77K sub channel, break down the Ocean Ramsey bullcrap, I'm going to let young Ben do it instead and give him some love. And I'm going to subscribe. Y'all see how I subscribe there. I suggest that, if you like what I'm watching here, you can go to Ben's channel and subscribe too. Let's see what he has to say.
Today I wanted to talk about something that I personally am very passionate about. As you guys may or may not know, as I have stated in the past before, I love the ocean, and I am currently studying to become a marine biologist. I hope to get a PhD someday in shark research specifically. And because I love sharks so much, that's what this story culminates around.
I love sharks too. Sharks are awesome. Shark Week used to be like something I celebrated every summer. Now I'm kind of disenchanted by it. Bree's headdress is moth antenna. That is true. Moth antenna. I am moth.
Is my love for sharks and people who also love sharks but are going about it the wrong way. The subject of today's video is someone known as Ocean Ramsey. Yes, Ocean is her real name. For those of you who aren't in the marine biology scene like I am, let me break this down for you. Ocean Ramsey is a diving instructor and self-proclaimed shark activist. She's one of those people that always dives with sharks and wants to show people that sharks are not the man-eaters that they've always been told that they are. Which is good, but she's doing something that's not really that great, and she's also lying about a lot, which is what I'm going to talk about in this video. Now, I first heard about Ocean Ramsey through Instagram. I follow her on Instagram, and she always posts pictures of her diving with sharks, and I thought, this is great. She's getting all close to these sharks, and it shows that just because something has a bad reputation doesn't mean that it's what it's cracked out to be, which is good. Now, I did a bit of digging, and though it is a bit old, she has been caught up in a bit of controversy before. Like I said, it's about, a year old, maybe a little more than a year at this point, but it's still very relevant today, because what she is practicing is still going on, and it needs to be stopped. Alright.
A bat? Yeah, I can see how that'd be a bat. I have, some red sunglasses to go with it to complete the Mothman look, but yeah, I'm not doing that. Wearing the red sunglasses makes things hard to parse.
So to start off, let's go to her website and see what she's all about. Alright, so we went to the about...
Yeah, purple, I'm the bride of Mothman. That's my claim to fame. The bride of Mothman.
Section, and this is what we're looking at. So, we're not going to read all of this because it's a lot, but I'm just going to read some of the most interesting parts for you. I'm a marine biologist, shark and marine conservationist, professional freediver, professional scuba instructor, surfer, swimmer, yogi, and professional model. I achieved my associate's degree in behavioral sciences, psychology. My undergraduate was marine biology and master's studies ethology, the study of animal behavior, specifics on shark behavior, body language, social hierarchy, and how they react and interact with their environment. Alright, so right off the bat, there's a bunch of shit going on. So, it's...
Nope, rose-colored glasses are not helpful at all.
Says that she has a bachelor's degree in marine biology. That's not enough to call yourself a marine biologist. You can't just get it.
So I'm not gonna be too harsh there. I don't think that I think it depends on what you do. But if you're not doing any work, any publishing in marine in the field, then you really shouldn't call yourself a marine biologist. If you're not actually doing marine biology and you just have the credentials to do marine biology, but it seems like I would say she's doing marine biology. I'm not gonna call that a farce.
A degree and say that you are a marine biologist. That's not how it works. You actually have to have extensive research in a field and have to at least help with like some public papers or something. Like, you can't just get a degree in business and call yourself a businessman. That's not how it works. So I did some more digging, and it turns out that she has a book, but other than that, there are no peer-reviewed research publications by her. So you can't just write a book and call yourself a marine biologist. I know I keep saying that, but I'm trying to drive the point in. Point is...
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to publish on... To consider yourself a biologist of any sort, you have to publish. You have to, write and be published in works on... I don't have any credentials at all myself, and as far as biology goes, but I think I'm even published in something. I can't remember what it was for, but it's been a while ago. You don't have to have the credentials to be published, but you do have to be published to have the title. Is the way that they want to. Trying to remember. I get like notifications about that regularly in my email too. Anyway,
there is nothing that she has done to call herself a marine biologist. There just isn't. So already, she's not real. She's completely fake. That's just the way it is. She doesn't have any credentials whatsoever to call herself a marine biologist. She just doesn't. By that logic, since I make YouTube videos, I can call myself a YouTuber. Like, I don't even have 100 subscribers yet, but if I make YouTube videos by that logic, I'm a YouTuber. You know what? That's it. I'm gonna start...
I think you have to make money by doing YouTube before you can call yourself a YouTuber. So I'm a YouTuber, but you're probably... Well, you might be now, because you got 600 subs. You might be monetized now, but... The time that you made this, you weren't really a YouTuber, but I'm a YouTuber. So, well, a YouTuber until they yoinked my channel for watching animal videos.
Start calling myself a YouTuber from now on. I'm gonna change my Instagram account that says that I'm a YouTuber right now. So,
oh yeah, I'm at all. I'm at all. Logan, me too, baby.
TLDR, Ocean Ramsey, not a real marine biologist. So now that we've gotten it out of the way that Ocean Ramsey is not who she says she is, let's talk about why she got...
Bye, Mordecai.
...into hot water. Why she got into so much controversy. So for those of you who don't follow the daily shark news like I do, let me give you the lowdown. So Deep Blue, aka the biggest great white shark ever discovered, she's about over 20 feet long. That's gigantic. She recently made an appearance by Hawaii, where
a massive shark. She's absolutely enormous.
Ocean Ramsey does her work. Now, Ocean Ramsey was fortunate enough to actually free dive with this massive shark. Now, a little bit more background. Deep Blue came out of the depths because she was believed to be pregnant, and they were by a sperm whale carcass that had just died, and there were a few sharks around it. And Deep Blue came up to presumably feed on the carcass, to feed her young. So let's put you in this scenario. You are freediving with probably the most powerful apex predator on the planet, and the biggest of its kind, no less. And especially when it's pregnant, it's trying to go...
Right, yeah, as far as the whole, she's not a real biologist, that doesn't matter to me. It's what she does and how she interacts that matters. So, I think that first 4 minutes of this video could have been narrowed down to saying, you know, she says she's a marine biologist, but just to make sure you understand this, she hasn't been published anywhere. She hasn't published any work in this field, and just leave it at that. That would have been fine. Just giving you some mild critique here, Ben. I'm with you on most of this stuff, I promise. So if you watch this back later, I wasn't trying to come down on you too hard about that. But yeah, let's steer more towards what she does than who she is.
All about its day. It's trying desperately to get food to nurture its litter. I can assume the last thing you would do is what she did, which is reach out and start touching it. Yes, that's right. Ocean Ramsey started touching the massive shark. Now, when this came out, and
let's talk about the state of Deep Blue too, because she wasn't just... No, this isn't... Does he have a clip of it, or... I don't think he shows a clip of it. Yeah, he does. Later on, or maybe it's some stills. Anyway, there's some visuals later, but don't touch wildlife. Just don't. Ocean Ramsey is no different than the people that go to Yellowstone and get up on the bison, right? And Deep Blue, at the time that you'll see, she was very, very, very big and pregnant. She wasn't she wasn't in an athletic state to contend with what these humans were doing to her. You know, all she could do is try to tolerate it, all the touching and grabbing and hanging on to her that she experienced. She's a fully pregnant great white shark trying to get to some food, and the humans are molesting her.
Footage of this aired. There were two sides to this. There was the one side that was like, wow, this is great. It shows that sharks aren't the eating machines that we make them out to be.
That was my thing about it, too, when I started in with the Ocean Ramsey. I used to have a transition that included a clip of her swimming with it. Because I'm like, yeah, this video shows that great white sharks are not killing machines. But long story short, just because they're not killing machines doesn't mean we need to be molesting them. I learn stuff like this all the time. So if you were like, oh, I like this woman, she swims with the sharks and shows they're not dangerous, I was with you. I'm not trying to pick a fight about it. I just because I thought it was grand too, but now I know more. Now I know better from the experts, from people working in the field, to know, hey, don't do that. And obviously, once you have the concept in mind, it's like, hey, yeah, don't touch wildlife. It becomes pretty self-evident. And you're like, why was I ever in support of that in the first place? But yeah,
which is true, and in that way, it was very good. However, there's the other side. When this all came out, the other side started attacking Ocean Ramsey for harassing this shark. And her most notable criticizer was an actual marine biologist who had this to say. The number one rule of legitimate shark diving operators is don't touch the sharks. This is not shark advocacy, it is selfish self-promotion. Which is 100% true.
And that's Michael Domier, and Michael Domier has his own sort of controversial stuff that we might talk about at another date, maybe. But that was Michael Domier, another shark researcher. Questionable ethics on that one, but he's right about this.
This is all just self-promotion. This is literally how Ocean Ramsey got her fame, was by taking pictures of herself touching sharks. I'll get more on about her narcissism later, but let's focus more on what the scientist had to say. Harassing a pregnant white shark while she is trying to feed could cause her to leave the meal, impacting her ability to successfully carry her pups to term or reproduce the next cycle. So literally just by doing what she did and touching the shark enough to bother it would cause it to leave the meal, and maybe her pups wouldn't survive.
Just leave sharks alone. Leave wild animals alone when you see them in the wild. You can observe them, but don't mess with them.
And this just further drives home the point that she is not a real marine biologist. If she were, she would have known this. But she's not, so of course she didn't. Now, I'm sorry to stay on one point for too long, but there is more to this, so let's just check it out real quick. Did you know that the very next day after all the videos went viral, there were about 60 people floundering around that dead whale in hopes of having their encounter with a white shark? Guess how many sharks were observed? 0. Don't you think all those people in the water might intimidate the sharks? Now, something like that is so sad to hear.
You don't even think about that humans would intimidate a shark, right? But, we're smelly and dangerous. We're the most dangerous animal on the planet. That's why, that's why women are choosing bear. We're the most dangerous animal on the planet. So, we're going to scare the sharks away if we get into the water around their food.
When videos of this came out, of Ocean Ramsey touching the shark came out, it inspired a bunch of other people to do the same. They all went to the same whale and tried to go in and touch sharks. I even heard stories that some people were walking on top of the whale carcass in the middle of the ocean. Like, how do people think that's okay? She's inspiring all these people to go out and do the same things that she does. Now I bet you're wondering,
this reminds me of that movie. Y'all ever see the movie The Shallows, where Blake Lively gets stuck out on the rock outcrop, and there's a whale carcass, and there's a great white feeding on it, and the great white decides it wants to feed on her instead, which is so bizarre because if there's a whale carcass, great whites, you can swim with them. You can get into the water. Obviously, that's the problem here is we have 60 people in the water instead of one professional in the water keeping their distance and observing the animals eating or feeding. You get a bunch of people in there just wanting to touch the shark while it's trying to eat. Changes the whole dynamic, but for the most part, great white sharks are pretty docile when they're around a whale carcass. As far as attacking people, no one's getting attacked that way. Depending on what I wear to the beach, I scare people away too. Oh, Victoria, I'm sure you look lovely at the beach.
Ocean Ramsey respond to all this criticism and backlash she was getting from the scientific community? Well, she gave like 5 different reasons as to why she did it. Like, first she tried to say that she didn't actually touch the shark. Then she tried to say that it was to protect everyone else in their group. Then she tried to say that the great white shark wanted her to pet him. Like, she keeps changing her story and none of it makes any sense. So
Hey, Paul. Good afternoon, or evening, I guess it is for you now.
let's take a look at her first response, saying that she didn't initially touch the shark. I waited quietly, patiently, observing as she swam up to the dead sperm whale carcass, and then slowly to me, passing close enough, I gently put my hand out to maintain a small space so her girth could pass, she said. This is full of shit. It's so obviously full of shit. There are so many videos and pictures of her.
Yeah, she's like saying now she's saying she didn't touch the shark at all. It's like, lady, we've seen you hang on to the shark while it swims.
Her touching the shark. Look, I'll play you this one right now.
Girl, you are definitely touching that shark. And she's very, very pregnant. Look at that. Look how big that belly is. That's a big old pregnant great white shark. And she just laid her hand right on its pregnant belly. I think she touched its gill. Is this the one where she bumped its gills? Right there, yeah.
After seeing that, there's no way you can deny that she actually did touch that shark. And if you look really closely, she touched its gills for a second and it visibly flinched. She actually made that shark probably very uncomfortable or maybe even hurt it. So yeah, response number 1, I didn't touch the shark, full of shit. Alright, so the next response where she says that I did it to protect people in my group, I couldn't really find that much on that, but I guess what she was trying to say is I was trying to redirect it, but that, as you can see from watching the video, that too is just so full of shit. She just wanted to touch it.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to I have seen videos of her redirecting sharks. She swims with tiger sharks a lot, and she does the nose push. When they come towards you with a tiger shark, when you're diving, you can just, if you push on the top of the nose, you can actually redirect them. That's one of the things that she goes on about a lot here, especially lately, that she's kind of redirected her her message to being like, I'm showing people how to survive shark attacks. That's why I'm touching them. Because she'll like get in the direct path of a tiger shark, and then when it gets close to her, she'll push its nose away, and on video, and people like it.
She wanted the attention. She's so narcissistic because that's what she's built her career off of, is taking pictures of her touching sharks. If you really wanted to protect the other divers, just tell them to get out of the water. Don't try to get all and be like, no guys, I got this. The shark needs me. So let's look at response number 3. The shark wanted me to touch it. Now I'll start off by saying that there actually is a lot of scientific evidence to show that sharks actually might like being touched. That's not just me pulling it out of my ass, that's me saying that...
And it's not great white sharks in those studies, though. It's like lemon sharks and stuff. Reef shark, or like tropical reef sharks.
There's a lot of evidence to show that that could be a possibility. However, that doesn't mean you should go up and pet every shark you meet. If you do really want to go cuddle a shark...
There are shark species that are social. I think he's probably going to say that.
Cuddle one that's like a nurse shark or something that's going to be like all friendly with you. Don't cuddle the most vicious predator on planet Earth. If you think...
Vicious is kind of a weird term too. Vicious. When I think of something vicious, I guess I think of intent to inflict wounds. Yeah, great white sharks probably be on the top of the list there. I don't know, when I think of vicious, I always want to think like feral, or not feral, but lupine animals.
Tiger would maybe like your company? Does that mean you'd get in its cage and start like petting it and giving it like little cuddles and stuff? No, because it would rip your face off. And especially if you can clearly see that a shark is pregnant and you know that she desperately needs to eat to protect her pups, then that's even more of a reason not to go up and give her some good old-fashioned cuddle.
Yeah, if you want to cuddle a shark, get yourself a blowhaj. Blowhaj is the IKEA shark.
Like, come on, dude. This really drives home the point that she's not a marine biologist, because like I said before, if she really was, she would know this. But she's not. What's even worse is her response when people criticize her for touching sharks. I found this quote on Reddit, and it really just outlines just how narcissistic she is. Here, let's give it a read. For those who don't like animals to be touched, if you really cared, you would be spending your energy attacking the people who are cutting their fins off for hashtag shark fin soup, or killing them for sport hashtag shark fishing. Not the people who sometimes touch their fins and encourage others to hashtag wake up and look at the hashtag bigger picture and help raise hashtag awareness to stop hashtag finning and hashtag stop shark fishing. Can you believe this? She's getting criticized for something that deserves to be criticized for, and upon getting attacked by this, she's like,
that's a whole bunch of whataboutism. Yeah, you can be annoyed by two things, right? You can say, hey, don't shark fish and don't cut off their fins, but also don't get in the water with them and touch their fins either. They don't want, it's not a good thing to do. Just don't do it.
Don't attack me. Attack them. They're the bad guys. They're worse than I am. They're the big picture. Let me keep doing what I'm doing. But they're the
She is the person out there touching the bison at the state park, right? Is out there putting her hands on the bison. And then for whatever reason, because she says, oh, also I'm a conservationist, that people are like, oh, well, you should be able to just go out there and put your hand on the bison. Then there's no reason to ever put your hand on the bison, right? We know that. Like, the National Park Service will tell you that. Don't touch the bison. They don't touch the bison either. Even the people working for the Park Service don't touch the bisons. The professionals don't touch the bisons. Now move that into the water and make it a big-ass fucking shark, and that's what this woman is doing. She's just, hey, having her partner video record her touching sharks. That's how she makes her living, touching wildlife, which, no, just don't do it.
Bad guys, why aren't you attacking them? So yeah, she keeps changing her story with this whole I touched a shark thing, and all of her excuses are dog shit. So now we're going to take a look at the people she surrounds herself with, because she's in charge of her own little diving group that goes to look at sharks. So I did some research. I looked into this diving group that she has. It's called One Ocean, and I went to their Instagram, and all of the pictures are just them touching sharks. Like, I'm going to play a few of these real quick just so you can see just how many there are of just them going and touching sharks. Because this is what they're all about.
And that habituates those sharks to coming up and just come up to people and be like, rah, like getting right up on them, because, yeah, humans, that's what you do to a human, see? Every time we encounter humans, this is how we interact. And then those sharks are gonna, and then I don't want to speculate on them feeding the sharks here, but we don't know.
This is their claim to fame, is they go and take pictures of them touching sharks. And they've been doing this for a really long time, too. Like, look, here's a video I'm about to play you from 4 years ago, and it's of her riding on great white sharks.
How about don't do that? This is, yeah, hanging on to the fin, going for a ride.
In conclusion, I do not like Ocean Ramsey, and I really wish that other people would start to see just what a fraud she is, so she cannot do this anymore. But sadly, that's not going to happen. She is way too big and has way too many supporters for her to possibly even reconsider what she's doing. There are always going to be people, no matter what, who are going to defend what she does. So I just thought I'd make this video to shed some light on this and show people that what she's doing is not okay, and she's not a real marine biologist. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah. Again, only criticism I really have at this point right now is that spent way too much time on trying to credential shame her, which I don't think is productive. It's the message that we're trying to send. Here are some different actual science conservationists who are doing what they can to protect and help sharks. You got Sarah Flowers and Thomas Peshak. They are working to combat the shark fin soup industry. So there are people taking those steps, but yeah. Researcher slams marine conservationist for touching great white shark during close encounter near Hawaiian Islands in Oahu. This was back in 2019 when all this came out. And again, I was like all behind this. I was like, yay, Ocean Ramsey, showing that sharks aren't monsters, yay. But so don't feel bad if you felt that way about her too. It took a minute for me to look this over and be like, yeah, this is just wrong. Of course, it does make me reflect on some other people that I've tended to idolize in the past. Like, obviously, Steve Irwin did a lot of rescue work too, so it's hit and miss with Steve Irwin. But sometimes he did just go out and mess with animals and touch them when they didn't need to be. It is what it is. It's in hindsight, but we can do better for the future, right? We can do better for our species. So let's just real quick before I move out of this section. Let's see, just some responsible marine life interactions, the do's and don'ts. Pretty simple, straightforward stuff. Don't ride, touch, or stand on marine life. The ocean is not a dude ranch. Yeah, exactly. Whales, sharks, turtles, and other pelagics aren't domesticated animals. Instead, they are sensitive creatures that humans can easily injure. Keep off the bottom. Avoid stepping on stingrays and other fragile marine life. So yeah, don't walk on the bottom. Don't chase the animals. Keep your hands to yourself. Don't agitate. Take only photos and your trash. And leave only bubbles. That's pretty good stuff. Don't feed the fish. You're not there to provide them nutrition. You're there to observe them in their natural environment. Be a voice for the ocean. Share what you know about the ocean and responsible marine life interaction with people who don't. Don't be a bystander. If you see something, say something. Like if we see a Hawaiian model getting into the water with a great white shark and hanging onto its fin, call her out. Call her out publicly. Say, hey, lady, don't do that. So it's just basically simple stuff. Simple stuff. Do not block access. Easy peasy. Easy rules to follow. This is basic stuff, people. You should know better, Ocean Ramsey. All right, so I like doing this. I like making this point. I intended to go after another animal YouTuber today, and I didn't. I went after Ocean Ramsey instead because of the TheTransPositions Thursday episode where I talked about Bethany Hamilton, and this came up. But I was actually going to talk about Coyote Peterson today. But because he had a video recently that fucked with me, I'll be blunt about it. But I'll talk about that next week. We'll get into that. So come back next week if you want to find out. Unless I'm gone, unless they've yoinked my channel, come back next week and we'll talk about Coyote Peterson in the same segment and do the same breakdown. If you like these kind of episodes of Sci-Fi, let me know too, because I actually prefer to do this than a lot of the other stuff I've been doing in this segment. I can only cover so many top 10 worst, top 10 best, top 10 most dangerous. Video is put together by a 14-year-old using AI voices. So, yeah, Steve Irwin should have used sunscreen to protect him against the harmful rays. But can't take credit. Star Song, it's from the Irwin versus Cousteau epic rap battle. Ah, I see. Alright, so we're going to be talking about elephants here in a minute as we move into Bree's Bestiary. So, I'll see you guys over there. Yeah. I guess I didn't close this segment out even. What am I doing? I'm getting ahead of myself. Well, that was, Sci Fails for today. How do you feel about Ocean Ramsey? How do you feel about people going out and touching wildlife? Where do you stand on documentary filmmakers, for instance, touching wildlife or handling wildlife? Let us know in the comments down below. Please remember to be kind. Take care. And we'll see you next time. Alright, now I can be like, oh, we're going to move into Bree's Bestiary in a second. Yeah. We're going to move into Bree's Bestiary in just a moment. We're going to talk about some elephants today, because elephants have not been treated kindly by humans. And we're going to look into that. But, speaking of elephants, gonna elephant intermission, one of my favorites that I've thrown together. So hopefully they don't give me a copyright strike for this one too, because I didn't shoot this footage myself. Oh well. I'll see you guys in Bree's Bestiary.
We're talking about is licking toads to get high. Now, for years, various Indians of Central America have ingested the hallucinogenic secretions of toads, but that practice, according to the Drug Enforcement Administration, is against the law. At first glance, the toad does not look like a criminal.
Lick the toad, lick the toad, lick the toad, lick the toad. They call him Narco Toad. On the street, he's also known by his alias, Bufo Marinus. He and his cousin, Bufo Alvarius, are dangerous dudes. They deal in a mind-scrambling substance that defends against intruders. It all comes from a little gland behind the toad's head.
When bitten, the toad secretes a milky white fluid from its parotoid glands that can poison its attacker, making them extremely ill and sometimes causing cardiac arrest.
Watch whatever crap comes on next. Coming up next.
Live from the Hive.
The organization took to their Facebook page last week to caution visitors not to lick the Sonoran desert toad. Don't lick it. If you're wondering why anyone would want to do that, well, let's explain. Apparently, this particular species of toad secretes a psychedelic toxin that leads to hallucinations if ingested, but can also make humans really sick, leaving people incapacitated for up to 30 minutes. Well, the NPS didn't say if a particular incident prompted their public service announcement, but a recent report from the New York Times says there has been an increased demand for the poison recently. Perhaps that's the reason the Park Service felt it necessary to remind visitors not to lick toads.
Ew, gross, man. You okay?
Whoa, everything's so significant. Dude, you gotta try this.
Not even. It's got your germs on it.
Not this end.
Oh, I can see the air. And you know what else?
The hallucinogenic compound of bufotoxins sometimes do create a feeling of airiness or flying and things like that, and we believe that the witches flying around on broomsticks is probably due to the toad component of the witch's brew.
While the psychedelic bufotenine has been detected in dozens of toad species, Bufo alvarius is the only amphibian known to biosynthesize its O-methyl homolog, 5-MeO-DMT. The toad's neck and limbs carry numerous protuberant glands marked by pores through which venom is excreted from subcutaneous lobules that contain the enzyme responsible for biosynthetic conversion of bufotenine to 5-MeO-DMT, in addition to the production of other tryptamines and cardiotoxic steroids.
Ooh, check it out, man. The licking toad. Yeah, licking toad, man. Lick the toad.
The National Park Service says if you see a toad in the wild, keep your tongue in your mouth.
That substance is bitter and foul-tasting. It blocks nerve transmission. It can affect the heart. It also can get you high.
Nothing. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Homer? Homer?
Huh? What?
These are crystallized secretions from a toad. A substance like this killed 4 people in Australia last year. In fact, possessing the secretion with intent to use it to get high is a federal offense.
In order to do any legal action against a person, we'd have to prove drug intent, that you, like conspiracy to lick a toad or conspiracy to sell a toad to lick or something of that sort.
Anything yet? Are you sure you're licking right?
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's supposed to pack an awesome buzz.
If you want to get one of these toads, forget it. The zoo tells us that Bufo marinus is restricted in California. The toad has been introduced in places like Florida, and it's done a lot of damage there. It's also a potentially dangerous toad, and certainly one you would never want to lick. Sylvia?
Never.
Ever. Ever.
No.
Okay, thanks.
Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another installment of Bree's Bestiary, where I pick an animal that I want to talk about and talk about it. And today, today I'm going to be talking about something a little sad. So, if you're not here for something sad, I'm sorry. But humans are cruel, and we're most cruel to other sentient creatures. So, it comes as no surprise that the most sentient creatures that are non-human suffer the most, and if history has taught us anything, it's the humans will look back at this stuff with callous indifference. But not Bree and not my hive, because we're going to be talking about elephant suffering today. At the hands of man. We're going to look at just three of many elephants who have suffered and died unjustly at the hands of their keepers in modern times. We're going to look at, this is Maple Chronicles, The Tragic Life of Jumbo the Elephant, is where we're going to start. So, let's see. And this was, just so you know, this segment was inspired by our very own Sumami and Stephanie Helms. We had a conversation about this in Gather a couple of nights ago, so it made me want to talk about it.
Jumbo the elephant became an international superstar, known at that time as the largest elephant to ever be kept in captivity. Jumbo became a worldwide sensation that introduced the word jumbo, meaning large in size, to our vocabulary. But despite his...
Yeah, like if you get jumbo shrimp, it's named after this elephant. Isn't that kind of funny? They're kind of cute too, but poor guy. Poor guy had a rough life, which we're going to find out all about.
Jumbo lived a rather deplorable life, followed by a tragic death.
We are definitely the worst extant apes, Majestic P-Back. The worst extant apes, by far.
Jumbo was born around 1860 in Sudan. After his mother was killed by hunters, he was captured and ended up in Germany before being imported to France and kept in the Paris Zoo. In 1861, London's Royal Zoological Gardens acquired Jumbo in exchange for a surplus rhinoceros they had on hand. There, he was named
surplus rhinoceros. Now, again, rhinoceros are another animal that in modern times there's no such thing as surplus rhinoceroses because they're all rare and endangered or at risk.
Jumbo, short for Mumbo Jumbo, a guardian angel who protects West African villages from evil spirits. Over the years, he grew enormously in size and became the largest elephant in captivity, measuring 11 feet 6 inches tall and weighing 6.5 tons. Although enormous in size...
Now, he's huge, but I remember seeing images in books when I was a kid of Jumbo with like dozens of people on it. Let me see if I can find this old image of Jumbo that had... makes it look like he was holding like whole crowds of people on his back. Let me see. It wasn't a photo though. It was a painting. Do, 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 do. That's not it. I don't know. You guys can watch me look at this, I guess. I don't know why I do this on the other screen and don't share it with you guys. Just looking for... These are just different paintings and stuff of Jumbo, but there's one in particular I'm looking for where he has a ton of people. There it is. That one. Yeah, where he has like all the people on his back. It was in Nope, it was this one. Yeah, in a book that I had that made him look so much bigger. No, it was this one. So much bigger than he really is. And I thought that for sure this was really how big Jumbo was. So I was expecting that there were elephants. When I was a kid, I was expecting that there was elephants out there the size of the elephant monsters from Lord of the Rings, right? I was like, yeah, they're good. The elephants get huge, but this is.
This Jumbo had a sweet character. Every afternoon, he would be let out and lumber along the paths of the zoo, carrying 8 to 10 children on his back. However, Jumbo soon reached the age for mating, a time when male elephants are known to fly into sudden and murderous fits of rage. Despite the fact that Jumbo had never attacked anyone, the zoo feared a potential incident. In 1882, the superintendent of the London Zoo made the decision to sell Jumbo to the American entertainer Phineas T. Barnum of the Barnum and Bailey Circus.
And he didn't have, and Barnum didn't have any countermeasures at all. Like he didn't have anything up his sleeve to deal with must when a male elephant went into it. No, he didn't have anything like that planned. So I don't know how he was planning on being any better at. At dealing with Jumbo's potential and so far unfounded notion that he was going to fly into a rage.
For an amount of $10,000 US. Barnum and his men began the monumental task of transporting Jumbo to America. They constructed a cage built of giant wooden beams reinforced with straps of iron and mounted on a massive four-wheeled trolley that was to be hauled by 6 horses from the zoo to the Millwall docks 6 miles away, where Jumbo would board a waiting steamship. However, Jumbo had different ideas, and no amount of coaxing could convince him to enter the crate.
I would be kind of freaked out till you live your life in captivity with humans, since you're a baby, and then out of nowhere they're like, hey, go into this big dark box with iron and chains and wheels. Yeah, just walk right up in there, Mr. Elephant.
On a second attempt, Jumbo was led down to the docks by foot. But again, Jumbo resisted. And when he was scolded by the handler, he whimpered loudly and finally knelt to the ground.
And you see his tusks are shaved off.
Refusing to move. This show of resistance convinced the British public that Jumbo didn't want to leave England and sparked a public outcry. 100,000 schoolchildren wrote Queen Victoria begging her not to sell the elephant. Jumbo's story was covered everywhere in the local media, and Jumbo merchandise was soon on sale everywhere. Everything from hats, collars, neckties, cigars, and fans were soon emblazoned with Jumbo's image.
So they've had this elephant for years, and then when they try to sell it, then everybody's all of a sudden like, oh no, we love Jumbo. Like, didn't show your support by donating to the zoological garden and attending their fundraisers and stuff. I don't know. It just and I'm not like saying that the London Zoological Garden was some beacon of conservation at this time, but it's probably the closest thing we had in the early 20th or late 19th, early 20th century. All things considered, of course, the London they stole everything. The London Museum would just pocket just about anything and everything as far as artifacts go. So we should wonder if the London Zoological Garden. Now, when the London Zoological Garden first started, they were in direct competition with something called the Exeter Exchange, which also had an elephant, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So stick around.
Despite a lawsuit against the London Zoo alleging the sale was in violation of multiple bylaws, as well as an attempt by the zoo to renege on the deal, the court upheld the sale. On a third attempt, Jumbo finally entered the cage, and 6 horses hauled him to the dock for his voyage. After arriving in New York City, Jumbo was taken through the streets, lined with cheering crowds, to Madison Square Garden, where Barnum's circus was playing.
That makes him look
Jumbo
a lot
drew
bigger there,
enormous interest
too.
from the public, and during its 3-week run, Barnum recovered enough money to pay for the purchase of the animal. Over the course of the 31-week season,
And Barnum, like, you know, he was a salesman. He would have definitely been, you know, biggest elephant ever, giant. Yeah, that's he knew how to market this
circus
thing.
earned $1.75 million, largely due to its star attraction, which Barnum called the overshadowing monarch mastodon, whose like does not exist in the wide world.
And see, in real life, he doesn't look as grand, but...
For the next 3 years, the show would play in Madison Square Gardens in the spring, and then go on the road to locations
When I
throughout...
say grand, he looks malnourished and sad. Is it just... I'm not an elephant expert, but... look at this bagginess in the spine right there. He doesn't look healthy.
Throughout North America until the fall. And Jumbo proved to be as popular with circus audiences as he'd been with visitors at the London Zoo. But that success would not last forever. On September 15th, 1885, Barnum's Circus was performing in St. Thomas, Ontario in Canada. The afternoon show began as always before taking a tragic turn. During the equestrian performance, a performer lost his grip while riding bareback and took a fall. He was quickly carried from view, but died while the remaining acts continued to perform. And that same evening, more tragedy followed. About halfway through the show, after completing their performance, handlers led the elephants back to their boxcar for the night. Jumbo and a little elephant named Tom Thumb had closed the act and were the last to be loaded. While Jumbo and Tom Thumb were being led by their keepers down the main train line towards their car...
All right, trigger warning coming up. This is where it gets tragic for Jumbo. So, to all my Jumbo stands, I love ya. Let's see, come back in about 5 minutes.
Special freight train number 151 came rushing at them from behind. The engineer spotted the animals and threw the engine into reverse. And Jumbo also saw the approaching danger, starting to run wildly down the track.
Purple, the circus that came to town when I was a kid fed their elephants hay. Like, consistently fed them hay, not fresh greens like they really prefer. Fresh greens and tree bark. Actually a little bit of heartwood too. Roots. They love roots. Elephants have a varied diet. They don't just eat grasses. And grasses are really, just a constant diet of grass is really bad for their teeth.
But there was no escape. Tom Thumb ran too, but he was hit by the locomotive's cowcatcher and thrown aside. And then it hit Jumbo, violently crushing him against a circus train car before finally derailing and coming to rest near the wounded animals. Jumbo lay huddled against the circus train with his skull fractured, deep gashes in his leathery hide, and severe damage to his internal organs. The elephant moaned in agony before dying minutes later. As the news began to break,
I just listed off some of the stuff elephants eat, Logan. They also, vegetables and fruit, of course, are always, they're just like people. They're like a nice fruity snack or like some nice crunchy veg. But veg is their main thing. They like that's why they got the long trunks. They can browse in the leaves. They will eat fresh tree leaves. They'll eat fruit, flowers, again, bark, a little bit of heartwood, roots, tubers. Grass can be part of their diet, but they can't just survive on grass like a cow. They're not ungulates. They don't have, they're afrotheres. They don't have the multi-chambered stomachs and all that jazz.
Barnum saw an opportunity and crafted a story to solidify the legacy of Jumbo. In his version of events, Jumbo died a hero's death while trying to save his fellow elephant by standing fast and letting the engine deliberately hit him instead of the little one.
So yeah, they spun it like he was saving
An
Tom's
examination
thumb.
of Jumbo's remains revealed how the elephant must have suffered in life. Jumbo's diet wasn't suitable for an elephant and left his teeth deformed and impacted. An analysis of his hair also found that it contained high nitrogen levels, indicating high levels of bodily stress. And his bones were in a condition comparable to an elephant twice his age, showing that Jumbo must have lived in chronic pain. Additionally, many metallic objects were found in the elephant's stomach, including pennies, keys, rivets, and even a police whistle. For the next 32 hours...
That's so bizarre, isn't it? That, because he'd do tricks, like they give him like coins and stuff, and he'd give people change back, stuff like that.
After his death, Jumbo's body was visited by an estimated 6,000 people, some of whom took pieces of his tusks, hide, and body hairs as souvenirs. One youth even took away a piece of Jumbo's trunk, stating that he planned to have it tanned and converted into a cover for his scrapbook.
That's wild.
Not willing to let go of his precious asset, Barnum hired a professor and taxidermist to skin Jumbo so that his hide could be stuffed and mounted and put on exhibition in the circus. When it came time, police formed a protective ring to keep people from seeing the butchering.
So, the people, the crowd, could you imagine just like, you know, someone's elephant, like the circus elephant just died, and you're like, you know, I'm gonna go cut off a chunk of that. Give me a chunk of that pachyderm.
But a local entrepreneur charged 5 cents a person to view the proceedings from a nearby viewpoint. Once the task was complete, the remains were set alight, taking 6 cords of wood to reduce the flesh to...
That's probably true, Logan. Like how people will do certain, will eat certain things that are not really consumable when they have low iron. People that chew on ice often have low iron in their diet. So yeah, very possible.
After touring with Barnum's circus, Jumbo's skeleton was donated to the American Museum of Natural History, and his heart was sold to Cornell University. His hide was donated to Tufts University, where it was displayed at the P.T. Barnum Hall for many years before finally being destroyed in a fire in April 1975. The ashes from that fire are still kept in a jar of Peter Pan crunchy peanut butter in the office of the Tufts athletic director. And his taxidermy tail is held by the Tufts Digital Collections and Archives.
So we still have Jumbo DNA. So we can make a new Jumbo. Now, let's do that. I want a new Jumbo. I will take care of him and give him a happy life. And I'll take him out to graze in the trees. And we'll live in the savannah. We'll be best friends.
Jumbo is known to have influenced many pop culture creations, like Lucy the Elephant, the oldest surviving roadside attraction in America. And he's also believed to have inspired Walt Disney's 1941 animated film Dumbo.
Well.
In 1985, the city of St. Thomas erected a life-size statue to commemorate the centennial of the elephant's death. So long after Jumbo's death, the memory of this beloved elephant lives on. But for his part, Tom Thumb recovered from the accident with only a slight permanent limp.
So Tom Thumb went on to live. At least there was that. Now, before there was Jumbo, there was Chuny of the Exeter Exchange. So let's go.
This is the true story of Chuny, a male elephant confined in a menagerie menagerie on a busy street in London who suddenly went berserk with horrifying and tragic consequences. The gruesome and controversial way in which the elephant was put to death in 1826 sparked widespread anger and garnered public attention. This video is in the memory of the elephant who was used for human entertainment and killed when he reacted against the abuse.
So yeah, Jumbotron is named after Jumbo. Jumbo Shrimp is named after Jumbo the elephant. That elephant's got hella legacy. They say that that you die twice. The first time is when you die in your physical body, and the second time is when somebody last utters your name. That elephant is immortal. That elephant is immortal.
Chuni was a wild Indian male elephant who weighed nearly 7 tons at 11 feet tall in his prime. In July 1811, he was captured.
11 feet tall. So this was before Jumbo, like way before Jumbo. Did it say 1811?
Chuni was a wild Indian male elephant who weighed nearly 7 tons at 11 feet tall in his prime. In July 1811, he was captured and taken over to England by the English East India Company. He was purchased by Stephen Polito, the owner of a menagerie at the Exeter Exchange, a building.
And let me tell you about the Exeter Exchange. And it's used to feature prominently in my intro, the paintings of the Exeter Exchange. What you see here is actually how animals were housed in the Exeter Exchange, right? Like the big cats were in like 3x6 cages. The elephant was Chuni was in like a 12x12 cage. They didn't have a lot of room. The monkeys and stuff, they were just in little like 3x3 boxes. The birds were in tiny bird cages. It was not a happy place for these animals. But people got to get really close to them. So you see a lot of people complain about when you go to like a zoo in modern days. I can't see anything. I can't. Where is the leopard? Where are they? I can't see them in there because they got like room to move around and hide. They didn't do that for them back then. And the Exeter Exchange, for what it's worth, was the second story of a downtown building. It was like in the middle of the city. People could hear the animals from the open windows.
Located on the Strand, a major road in London. After Polito's death, the menagerie was bought by Edward Cross in 1817. Cross was a popular zoo proprietor and dealer in animals.
Now, and to give you another just clarification on this, the Exeter Exchange was not just a place where they displayed these. These were touring animals. This was still in the days of menageries, right, where they would travel. They would travel about southern England with their menagerie and display them, and they'd put them in traveling cages. This was their winter home, though. They'd overwinter them in the Exeter Exchange due to its more mild location in a more mild climate in England.
Polito and Cross both were motivated by profit, and their captured exhibits were kept in cramped conditions and were often treated cruelly. Chuni was a tame elephant who was forced to appear on stage to perform pantomime acts. He even performed with Edmund Kean, who was a British Shakespearean stage actor. At the time, the elephant was well behaved.
That's Edward Kean, famous last words. Comedy is easy, dying is hard, or something like that. Good stuff. Yeah, that's his, what he said on his deathbed, allegedly.
Behaved and obeyed every command. One of the tricks he was trained to perform was to take money from visitors and hold it with his trunk before returning it. The trick impressed Lord Byron, a well-known English poet. Over time, Chuni increased in...
Yes, the sexy Lord Byron, the one who wanted to sex everybody.
...bulk and strength. Because of his new size, a new cage was constructed for him. Around the same time, one of his usual keepers died. So during the construction of his new den, the elephant became attached to a carpenter, a man named Harrison. One day in 1820, when Chuni's keeper went into his den to exhibit him, Chuni refused to obey. The usual practice was to strike him with a cane when he was disobedient, and that is what...
And we've watched that in my elephant video, we watched how they beat these poor animals with the long cane.
Keeper did. The keeper wasn't aware that Chuni was suffering with an infected tusk and did. Practice was to strike him with a cane when he was disobedient, and that is what the keeper did. The keeper wasn't aware that Chuni was suffering with an infected tusk and already in a lot of pain. The beating enraged Chuni, and he threw the keeper down. Another man, sensing the danger, tossed the keeper a pitchfork. Chuni, however, kicked the pitchfork aside and seized the keeper. Cross heard the—
What were you gonna do with that pitchfork, buddy? Were you gonna stab the elephant with it?
Commotion and pulled the keeper away, saving his life. Similar incidences of rage continued to spontaneously occur over the years until they became more frequent and more violent. On February 26, 1826, while on his usual Sunday walk along the road, Chuni ran amok, killing one of his keepers. He became increasingly enraged and difficult to handle over the following days, owing to periods of must.
Yeah, could you imagine? Yeah, must is. But could you imagine living your life in a little, like, 12 by 12? I live in a 12 by 12 box, but, you know, not like being trapped in there. It sounds like they went for a walk every day, and that's about it. If they went for a walk every day, why were people paying to come see the elephant when they could just wait until they go for their walk and see the elephant? I don't know.
Condition in male elephants characterized by highly aggressive behavior and accompanied by a large rise in reproductive hormones. Even the most placid elephants in must can be extremely dangerous to both humans and other elephants. A few days later, on March 1st, Chuni made a powerful lunge against his cage and loosened some of the posts that held the cage in its place. As Cross was unavailable, another man tried to fortify the cage by placing a large timber in the front. But Chuni was upset, and all attempts were futile. During Cross's absence, Chuni's fury increased to the point where the keepers fought him with pikes and spears to prevent him from liberating himself from his den. After Cross arrived,
yeah, they're stabbing him with pikes and spears, and they're like, "Oh, he's mad. Don't go through Musk." No, it's Must. M-U-S-T-H. Must. It'll have like a drippy line down the side of their face too. They're like, sweating pheromones, as Logan says.
He found Chuni in a furious state, and even Harrison couldn't calm him. The cage was now insecure, and Chuni was in an excited state. He was eventually seen as a threat to his keepers and even to the general public, and it was decided that he was too dangerous to keep. Cross made the decision to kill Chuni. The keepers tried to kill him by poisoning him, but Chuni refused to eat all food, as if he had the suspicion that it was intended to destroy him. Under the circumstances, soldiers were summoned to shoot Chuni with their muskets. It was difficult to shoot the elephant while he was standing in the agitated state.
They literally shot him with volleys of bullets, and he wouldn't die.
So Chuni's keeper commanded him to kneel down, a practice that Chuni was used to in his training. Chuni trusted the keeper and knelt down, only to be hit by 2 musket balls, which were fired towards his heart, but they entered his shoulder blade. The enraged Chuni made a fierce rush to the front and crashed into the gate, loosening it further.
So, his trainer, who he loved, or presumably loved and trusted. Let's not say loved. Let's just say trusted. Though elephants, in general, they form a familial bond with. If they don't have access to other elephants, they'll form those bonds with the people. But made the gesture for him to do this kneel that the elephant was trained to do. And when he did the kneel, they opened fire on him.
After getting shot a few more times, he spun to hide his head. The firing continued, and after about 30 shots, Chuni suddenly sunk into his haunches, conceiving that a shot had struck him in a vital part. However, the wounded elephant rose once again and moved forward with renewed vigor. After more shots were fired, he fell for a second time, breathing heavily. Despite having received more than 100 shots, he rose again, exhausted but determined to stay on his feet. The keepers were then directed to constantly shoot at his ear. One ball took effect. and he rushed around the den and gave one last furious lunge at the gates. The lunge was described as the most...
I think Joe must be behind. Must be watching the beginning of the show where I was talking about yeah, anyway.
Awful of the whole. Chuni eventually received around 152 musket balls before he completely collapsed. He was finished off by a keeper with
Did you hear that number?
Before Chuni eventually received around 152 musket balls before he completely...
152 times they shot this poor elephant in its cage. While he's already in pain, has a tooth infection. He's going through must, which is like a... compare it as like a period times 10. The poor elephant. And the person he trusted, the only person it seems like he trusted in the world, gave him a command and he did what he was told. And they shot him 150 times. And then finished him off with a spear because that didn't kill him. That didn't kill him.
Completely collapsed. He was finished off by a keeper with a harpoon or a sword. The floor of his cage was deeply covered with his blood, and it was said that the sound of the elephant in agony was more alarming than the reports of the soldiers' guns. News of the slaughter inspired numerous poems and even a successful play. But his owner, Edward Cross, saw the profit even in the animal's death.
Look at the representation of the tusk here too. See that broken and just it looks like it's snapped off. It doesn't look like it was sawed off. Usually they saw the elephant's tusk off in captivity, but it looks like it was snapped off on this one in this image. I don't know why they
charged a shilling to see the body dissected. He sold the hide, which took 9 butchers 12 hours to remove. And he put Chuni's skeleton on display in his old cage, with the bullet holes in his skull clearly visible. Chuni's skeleton, along with the affected tusk, was on display in the Royal College of Surgeons Museum until May 11, 1941, when the museum was almost completely destroyed by a direct hit from a high-explosive bomb, which also destroyed Chuni's skeleton. Chuni isn't the only elephant executed.
So much stuff was lost in the bombings in World War II. Like, I always think of Spinosaurus. I always think of Spinosaurus, so, yeah.
Executed in the past. There is the story of Mary the elephant who was hanged to death in one of the cruelest ways an animal was killed. Another elephant named Topsy was electrocuted to death. And there is the more recent story of elephant Tyke, who was shot to death after she...
Tyke also hit with volley after volley of rifle fire.
Escaped from a circus in search of freedom from the cruelty meted out to all animals in circuses.
And we have talked about Tyke, though. We've talked about Tyke. We haven't talked about Mary. We're not going to talk about Mary today, but we are going to talk about Topsy.
Menagerie at Exeter Exchange declined in popularity after Chuni's death. The animals were relocated in 1828 and the building was demolished in 1829. Thank you for watching. If you found the video interesting, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to Seanvolution for more such content.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Topsy.
This is the story of Topsy, a female circus elephant who suffered a lot of abuse over the years. But after she finally struck back, she was sentenced to death by electrocution. Her story is incredibly sad and disturbing, but one that is needed to be shared in honor and memory of this particular elephant and many other animals who have been abused in the name of entertainment for humans.
Yeah, Topsy's probably the worst one. Topsy's probably, when it comes to...
Topsy was likely born in Southeast Asia around 1875, but she didn't have long to enjoy life in the wild. Smugglers captured her as a young baby. She was bought by Adam Forepaugh, owner of the Four-Paw Circus, which was in direct competition with the Barnum and Bailey Circus, who had the most and largest elephants. Adam illegally advertised the baby as the first elephant born in America. The elephant trader who sold Topsy to Four-Paw also sold elephants to
And she was not born in America, as you just heard. She was born in India.
Barnum and tipped them off about the deception. Barnum exposed the hoax.
Yes, it gets worse, Purple. We were so cruel to these. It showed an image of Mary, right? Mary was hung by her neck like a human criminal. Topsy gets it worse. And I'm gonna show it, and I'll give you a warning before I do, because you might want to look away.
Publicly, and Four-Paw had to stop his fraudulent claim. He still advertised her as the first elephant born outside a tropical zone. Like many circus performers at the time, she was subject to harsh treatment during training sessions. Trainers of the time were vicious towards the animals in their attempt to control.
They still are. Again, I have the video, and I don't know if I'm worried I'm gonna get a strike on that one too. But yeah, Tyke's eyes say everything about that, doesn't it?
Prodding the elephants with sharp hooks between the eyes and head. Beatings, hot pokers, and even guns were common methods of training. On the morning of April 27, 1902, a drunk man named James Fielding Blount wandered into the tent where all elephants were tied, and he began teasing them by offering them a bottle of whiskey. He reportedly threw sand in Topsy's face and then burned the extremely sensitive tip of her trunk with a lit cigar. The enraged Topsy threw—
What a dick. That guy sounds like a total dick. Why was this asshole allowed to wander in and mess with large, dangerous circus animals? What kind of security do you got? Do you don't have a strong man?
Threw Blount to the ground with her trunk and then crushed him with her foot and killed him. The publicity generated by Topsy's man-killing brought very large crowds to the circus to see the elephant. In June 1902, another man tried to tickle—
I like how he says 1902. It's 1902 here in the US. We call it 1902.
the Topsy behind her ear with her stick. She seized the man around the waist with her trunk, hoisted him high in the air, and threw him down before a handler was able to stop her. The man eventually survived, but—
Fuck around and find out is what's happening with these assholes. How long do you think you can torture giant elephants before one of them decides it's going to torture you? And they can kill you a lot easier than you can kill them. It takes 150 bullets, and then you still have to spear the fucker to take it down. No. Leave them elephants alone. Our ancestors knew and respected these creatures. You know, we hunted mammoths. Probably to extinction, actually. So, bad example. Humans are just awful for a long time. But I digress. We can live in harmony.
The owners of the circus decided to sell Topsy since she was bringing bad press to the circus. Paul Boyden, owner of Coney Island—
No such thing as bad press, baby—
Sea Lion Park, bought Topsy, and her handler William Ault came along with her to work at the park. But the business went south and was purchased by Frederick Thompson and Elmer Dundee, who renamed it to Luna Park. Topsy was used in publicity, moving timbers, and an amusement ride in the park. During one such move, a drunk William Ault stabbed Topsy with a pitchfork, trying to get her to pull the amusement ride. Over the next few months—
Jesus, why do people think it's okay to just stab and hit and shoot these animals?
Topsy became unmanageable for Ault, and he was eventually fired from the park. Without him to handle Topsy, the owners of Luna Park could no longer manage her, and they tried to sell her. But due to the bad press associated with her over the recent months, there were no buyers. Stuck with an elephant they no longer wanted, and always in search for the next spectacle, the owners of Luna Park announced the impending execution of the elephant.
Here we go. This is where it turns dark, and she didn't even do anything. I mean, she killed a guy who put out a cigar on her, threw a guy who was beating her, and then she And another drunk guy stabbed her with a pitchfork, and she took him out. So,
originally planning to hang her in public, but the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals prevented the hanging by claiming that the method was unnecessarily cruel. The owners then agreed to switch to a more sure method of execution.
yeah, this was after Mary. And we'll probably have to do a part 2 of this because there's so many more elephants that people have just tortured and murdered.
A mix of poison, strangulation, and electrocution. Some believe that Topsy's electrocution may have been set in motion because of a war fought between Thomas Edison and George Westinghouse and Nikola Tesla. This was the War of Currents, a long-running battle over which man would control the American electricity system. Edison pitched his own invention of the direct current, while Westinghouse believed in alternating current, which Nikola Tesla had developed. Edison was aware that the acceptance of direct
and alternating currents, I mean, won for the most part, right? But, yeah.
current would earn him hefty patent royalties. As Westinghouse started setting up alternating current generators around the country, Edison started to get worried and initiated a desperate propaganda campaign to discredit Westinghouse and the alternating current. Part of this great game involved Edison staging live electrocution events in which he used AC power to kill stray dogs, horses, and cattle to make the point that his rivals.
Now, to be clear, there's going to be a later point in this video where they say, we don't know if Edison was actually involved in this directly with Topsy's execution. But we do know that Edison, just like they just said, executed dogs and horses and all other manner of animals with this technology. So we know that.
Current was too heinously dangerous for public usage. Despite all the shenanigans, Edison lost the war of currents and alternating current became mainstream. But that couldn't stop one more act of cruelty. On the day of Topsy's death, hundreds of spectators and press came out to witness the event. Newspaper accounts of the event noted that Topsy refused to cross the bridge over the lagoon where she was supposed to be electrocuted, ignoring prodding and bribes of carrots and apples. The owners of Luna Park then tried to get William Ault, who refused to watch the killing and declined an offer.
William Ault, who'd been training this elephant for over a decade now, and they fired, and then the reason why they weren't able to deal with it, to handle the elephant, is because they fired him and he was her caretaker and she wouldn't listen to anybody else. And they're like, yeah, hey, can you come bring, that elephant that we took from you, that you trained, and then we fired you? We want to kill it, so can you come lure it onto a platform so we can execute it? And dude's like, fuck you, I ain't taking part in that. And I don't blame him one bit. I wouldn't do it either. Topsy was, I keep getting mixed up, Topsy and Tyke. Topsy was probably his friend.
Offer of $25 to coax her to her death, saying that he wouldn't do it for $1,000. The owners had to
Sounds like he was a good person, maybe, I don't know. Was he the one that stabbed her with the pitchfork, though? I don't think so. I think it was a different handler.
The strangling apparatus and electrical wiring to where Topsy stood. She was also fed carrots laced with...
Now we're looking at real footage here. Some of the oldest footage of an animal at all, really. Some of these are like Library of Congress videos. These are really, really old. Some of the oldest films ever produced.
Potassium cyanide, while copper-clad electrodes...
That's what I thought. I got mixed up. Purple, but yeah.
Connected to electric lines were strapped to her feet. Topsy tried to shake off the electrode on her right forefoot and then stood still. At that point, she stiffened as 6...
Alright. This is the part where we decide whether or not you're going to watch this or not. Yeah, I am going to play it because I think this needs to be remembered. What happened to Topsy needs to be remembered. This elephant's going to be executed on camera. If you're bothered by that, and I don't blame you one bit, now would be a time to turn away from your screen, and we'll be back. And you can come back in just about not too long. Let's see. Actually, let's go ahead and say come back in about 3 minutes. Okay.
6,600 volts of alternating current was applied to her body. Once the switch was flipped, smoke rose from her feet, and it took just 10 seconds before Topsy fell over and died. Some would describe the smell like that of burning flesh, others of burning hoof. The pain must have been excruciating, and her huge form shook violently. The many witnesses to the electrocution concurred that Topsy had died without making a sound. After she fell, the noose tied around Topsy's neck was tightened for the next 10 minutes. Only then, when she had been triply killed and there was not the slightest chance that she was alive.
So, that was it. That was the execution of Topsy. It was hard. It's hard to watch. It's hard to stomach, but it's an important piece of history. Uncensored here for you right now. And I'm sorry you had to see it, and I had to see it, and we all had to see it, and we've seen Mary hanging, but this one's the worst for me. I can only hope that she didn't suffer, but the twitching here before, why she has the rope around her neck makes me think that maybe she might have.
Live, did the 3 veterinary surgeons approach and pronounce her dead. The direct involvement of Edison in the electrocution of Topsy has been put into question. While
I don't think it matters whether Edison was actually directly involved with Topsy. It matters that this was his method that he came up with, that he'd used on dogs, cows, horses, and things. So he was already doing this, regardless of whether he did it to the elephant. He innovated it so that they could do it to the elephant.
The company he set up had a major part to play in the arrangements to electrocute Topsy. Edison was not a part of the company at that point and was never physically present at Coney Island at the time of her execution. Additionally, the War of Currents ended 10 years before, with Edison on the losing side. This is just one of the examples of torture that animals have undergone for the sake of human entertainment. The story of Topsy is not an isolated one. In 1916, an elephant named Mary was hanged to death in Tennessee after she killed her handler. Another Indian elephant named Chuni, who was taken to London as a show animal, was killed by shooting after he became increasingly enraged towards the end of his life after suffering a lifetime of abuse. And there is a more recent story of the elephant Tyke, who was shot 87 times after she killed her trainer and escaped the circus trying to run for freedom. In all the cases, the elephants were abused for years before they snapped and acted against their cruel handlers. Thank you for watching, and if you...
These are hard to watch. This is hard to stomach, but I have a platform. I talk about what I want to talk about, and I want people to know that elephants deserve better than what we've done for them. There's no such thing as a work elephant. They're slave elephants. They're slaves to humans. They're not domesticated. They're not domestic creatures. They are sentient beings that need to live free. They're not designed, evolved, whatever you want to say, for captivity. It's not where they need to be. So, yeah, Coney Island. All right. Cute elephant video. Let me see what I can find. I'm afraid to show it. Let's see. Maybe if it's a short. Yeah. Do, 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 do. Yeah, it's got elephant. I'm not gonna play the sound. It's music. I don't know what. We got baby elephants wrestling. There's our cute baby elephant. Oh, she's so cute. Oh, he's gonna get us. He's charging us. Look at the fuzz on this little guy's head. Tumble and rumble. Aww. Cuteness overload. Yeah, I don't think this one's gonna be a problem because it's a bunch of little clips of different videos. Yeah, I'm so apprehensive about playing animal videos anymore. Alright, so yeah, thank you for joining me for Bree's Bestiary this week. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. Alright, don't go anywhere. I got some more stuff coming up. Just a quick little segment on invasive species, and then we'll be done. We're at the 3-hour mark. I haven't run 3 hours in a long time, but I had a big intro thing today about a bunch of BS. So, yeah, I will see you guys in just a minute, okay? All right, my beauties and bees. Thank you for sticking around with me. Just going to break this last section down real quick. Let me respond to some of the conversation going on. So I'm going to reiterate about the copyright strikes. I've got 2 copyright strikes for like what I just showed there with the elephant video, things like that. Not specifically on the elephant video, but videos that I cut together like that to play in between is where these are coming from. Now I like to put the little animal videos in between, a little bit of science, but I have to flag them and say that this one's been got a strike. This one. Most of the time, I just get a copyright claim on it. Right? They'll say, "Hey, someone claimed this clip," so and I'll just have to cut that out or whatever. But copyright strikes are a bit different. Apparently, if I play over 30 seconds, because looking at the times on these ones that I got the strikes for, one was 36 seconds and the other one was like 42 seconds I played of a video. So you gotta be real careful with that. They will come. They're cracking down on it. I think it's all AI, so you don't even have like a person looking at it. It's just automated. Right. I don't know what to do because the type of content I want to make, maybe YouTube's not the place for it. If that's how they want to conduct themselves. I mean, if that happens, just to reiterate with everybody, I'm not going to stop doing live from the Hive. I'll just switch live from the Hive over to Twitch. I know not a lot of people are big fans of Twitch, and they say, "Oh, Twitch is dying" and whatnot. But with the way that YouTube is using their AI now to crack down on people making science videos and using animal clips for science videos, I just don't think it's sustainable to continue over here. If I do continue over here, it'll just be I'll make a Cryptid Corner channel. If they take me down for this, if I don't get to fight these. No, I haven't tried Kick. I thought Kick was for kids. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see what the future holds. But I will let you know. I'll just follow on. The Discord is going to be kind of a hub for that. So if you're not in the Discord, my Discord's pretty much dead. Not a lot happens there. Just basically the updates on the live streaming. But it may become more active if YouTube took me down here, or definitely. But I'm also the TheTransPositions Discord. I'm really active on right now, trying to get that thing up and running. I know a lot of you guys are already there, but if not, if someone wants to drop a link, yeah, that's tricks, not kicks. Okay. Couple of things I want to talk about in this last little segment of Hive side. Well, it's all whittled down to one thing. Now, initially, I plan on just talking about this, but in the U.S., please do not plant Bradford pear trees, and and if you have them, maybe cut them down. They're not good for the environment, and they smell awful. In the world of horticulture and ecology, the Bradford pear tree that grace our streets, parks, shopping centers, and greet spring with white flowers have become public enemy number 1. They're invasive. They crowd out native plants by outcompeting them for light, water, and nutrients. They do not host insects that are eaten by birds, as do native plants. Their weak limbs break off, sometimes damaging property and injuring people, and they smell bad. And they smell bad because their pollinators are not bees or hummingbirds or butterflies. What pollinates these little white flowers are flies. So that's why the Bradford pear, in my opinion, my humble opinion, smells like a dirty vagina. Those were the messages of Michelle Campinas, education coordinator at the University of Tennessee Arboretum, or how do you say this? Arboretum, maybe? I think it's Arboretum. In her recent talk about Bradford pear trees to the Oak Ridge Institute for Continued Learning Friday's lecture class. She noted that trees like the straight parent tree native to China and Vietnam, Pyrus caleriana, from which the Bradford pear tree is derived, are now sprouting and spreading to the forest, fields, and farms in Oak Ridge and the southeast. Bradford pears is a cross pollinating with other cultivars of the parent species. A cultivar is a plant variety produced by selective breeding. And they're crossbreeding. The problem is that some of the offspring plants are exhibiting some undesirable traits of the parent calorie pear tree, as it is called. These volunteer calorie pear trees are seeding themselves in alarming numbers, even where they were not planted. They are helped along by birds who like to eat the tree's fruit. The volunteer trees, the volunteer trees have what was eliminated from the Bradford pear tree cultivars, 3-inch long thorns that can puncture tractor tires. These trees can create dense thickets, replete with sharp thorns that make hiking through the woods difficult. Even goats avoid these areas. The plants in many eastern and southeastern states in the 1960s and 70s, the Bradford pear tree lost its luster as a landscape gem in the 2000s when it was deemed an invasive plant in 29 states and Washington, D.C. Capanis said future sales of Bradford pears are banned in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and South Carolina. In North Carolina and other states, she added, some counties offer homeowners a bounty if they remove their Bradford pear trees. As a reward, they are giving native replacement trees. So yes, definitely replace them with native trees, but get rid of these. So yeah, they're wanting to get them the sale of them banned in Tennessee, of course. That's the campaign that this article is really talking about here. But they're not just in Tennessee. They're in Missouri. They're in Illinois. Every state in the union, pretty much. I can look out my window and see 3 of them from here. They are terrible about dropping branches. Bradford pear trees. Let's just get them out. Replace them with something native before they become more of a problem than they already are. Anyway, that's all I had for you today. That's our live from the Hive. I hope you really enjoyed this. And if you have any questions about what you can replace a Bradford pear tree with in your area, let me know and I'll help you find something different. I know in my area, redbud trees fill the same niche and have the beautiful blooms as well. So that's just here in flowering dogwoods are another one. But remember to be kind and take care, and we'll see you next time.
Evolution. Evolution.